Wow.
I had to text Felipe yesterday when I found out the news of the engagement. I text Felipe and I'm like, so looks like you lost that whole Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce bet thing.
Uh-huh.
He responded within seconds. He goes, you two were the first people I thought about when I saw that news.
She's still with his lady?
You know what? I asked if he's getting married soon. He said, not anytime soon. And I'm like, the way he answered, it's like, you know what? I'm not even going to ask if he and Sophers. And then he sent me his credential he's got to my field pass to do photography for the Miami Notre Dame game. He's all excited.
He almost didn't take that job. I cannot tell you. I had 2 very long talks with him. Like, you're foolish.
What, to keep ours?
Well, he didn't know if he wanted to go into that part of the business. I'm like, you can change, but they're offering you a job. You got to take it. That's how this business works. I said, you miss Miami. You'll be around your parents. I told them the 1 year that I spent in Jersey was one of the best years of my life. And I was working at a warehouse. I wasn't even in the business. I go, be around your family when you can while they're alive. I go, you'll be happy. You'll be home. You'll be happy.
Yeah, because I said, you better hope for the Canes. I said, because the Heat and the Dolphins ain't going to be good.
No.
And that's when he sent back the field pass. He's like, and I said, you mean you actually know how to get a credential?
That funny.
Yes.
He didn't respond to that?
He did. He said the sports guy at the station he works for who takes care of him.
Yeah, he did it. Yeah. So you still don't know how to get one. That funny.
I was tired this morning. I don't know why. I got up, started the coffee, and went back to bed for 40 minutes.
Powerball's $815 million, folks.
Haven't bought a ticket in 5 years. 3 years.
7th biggest jackpot ever.
Maybe I'll get one.
They're up to $2 now.
Cracker Barrel goes back. Portnoy made a statement. We got stuff, David. I mean, I stayed up to watch your Mets last night. It's the last thing I watched. Like Mets won. I'm like, I want to go to bed now.
Let me tell you something.
It's a fun game.
When he brought in that guy in the 8th inning who's been throwing batting practice, I literally was like, what are you trying to do? This guy hasn't gotten anybody out.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Final Wednesday of August. For me, the college football season's a little over 24 hours away. For the rest of you, well, you made your feelings known. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Another great show lined up for you. Top of the morning, Mark. How are you?
I am good. Had my fantasy football draft last night.
Oh, how'd it go?
It was fine. I mean, you never know. People get excited about their team, unhappy about their team, whatever the case may be. But I've been in a league. My son invited me into his league. A few of his friends, his boss, who I know very well. And, he had the draft order determined. I was ready. I was prepared. And for whatever reason, by the time he went to plug it in, and we use Yahoo, by the time he went to plug in our draft order, they created a draft already and wouldn't let him change. So I thought I was drafting at one spot. Turned out I was drafting at another. Was not happy. Threw him right under the bus to all this group chat with everybody on there. I said, F the commission. He just went, thanks a lot, Dad.
It's nice when your relationship gets to the point where you can say, well, you know what? You know, can't baby you anymore. You're too old. So,
Exactly.
if you're one of the guys, this is how we talk to one of the guys. So, you know what? That commissioner sucks. Dad, it's me. Like I said, that commissioner sucks, son.
So, yeah, I had a little draft last night. Had a good afternoon with the daughter yesterday. Ran into an old friend yesterday during the day. Had a pretty good day.
That's good to hear.
And I'm ready. I will say the appetizer that was Farmageddon was delicious. Yeah. I would order it again.
You loved it.
But I think that's the key. David, if week 0 would have been a terrible game, if it would have ended up being the way the first quarter was played, that's an appetizer that you went, I may try the restaurant again, but I'm not ordering that. And Farmageddon, it was sneaky good. And that has me even more excited for the early bird special tomorrow at 5:30.
That's right, baby. That's right. Brought to you by Cracker Barrel. I don't know if it is or not, but we just jumped on
this. But it should be.
Ago. It should be. Absolutely.
Bringing you early football and a return to an old logo in Tampa.
So South Florida hosting Boise State in less than 36 hours. Let's get her done. Miller and Moulton. Cutdown day yesterday. Ryder Cup announcement day today. There was one site yesterday during our show, in fact.
Right, late in the show, in the 9 o'clock hour, you found it. Or just there before.
That said, hey, this Sam Burns guy, he's already been told he's going to be on the team. Well, that's kind of a biggie. He finished 16th in the points. There's a lot of people ahead of him that are being considered. I'll reiterate it. He's Scotty Scheffler's best friend in the world. Okay, just saying, if you don't think that matters, okay, all those years, who are we going to pair with Tiger? Pairing somebody with Tiger's a problem. Who do we have?
I will say, David, this is not like that, though. I know that Sam Burns is his best buddy of guys on tour. I don't know for sure. I don't know if because he still hangs with his high school friends. I mean,
True.
Scheffler is still very grounded with the people he has been friends with for a long time. But on tour, Burns is his guy. But this isn't like Tiger, in that Tiger hated everybody and you had to search out someone to play with Tiger.
Right.
He did. He didn't like any. When he was at his best, his mentality was, you guys all suck. I'm going to pound you every week. And then all of a sudden, for 4 days, I've got to be your buddy. That was never his MO. And he was never great in the Ryder Cup.
Ken Venturi, as he was the captain of the President's Cup one year, and he paired Nota Begay with him. And they said, why Nota? And he said, well, they're friendly because they went to college together. But he said, in all honesty, Nota plays the same equipment as Tiger. Same clubs, same golf ball. He goes, nobody else plays that ball. He goes, I figured I'd put them together. Okay. He goes, it's the best match I got here on paper. And, they crushed it that week. But Nota was never good enough to make a Ryder Cup team. So, Ryder Cup captain didn't have that luxury.
But Scotty doesn't seem, Scotty seems to get along with everybody. Scotty's mentality is a 180 from Tiger's mentality out there. I'm sure there are a bunch of similarities. There's no way you have the success that Scheffler's having without having a bit of a killer instinct. But he doesn't give off the persona that, hell, if you pair me with JT, I'm not even interested in playing. Yeah, I don't sense that from Scotty.
You mean there's not a Tiger-Phil pairing on this team potentially that there was in 2004?
Maybe Cantlay. That's and that's you keep going Cantlay. And David, you may end up being right. But that would be a question I would be asking the guys I'm picking, hey, if I played you with Cantley and a better ball or an alternate shot, are you going to be okay with that? Because we all know he's a human rain delay.
Yes, he is.
And unless he has a lot of advocates that want to play 7.5 hour round, that's an interesting pick.
Liked your comment yesterday. If you put Cantley on the team, you got to put him in the final group of every session because you can't hold up the whole course.
Right. So that's
Lord,
this morning. What, 11 o'clock are they making
11
that
o'clock this morning. Yep. So I'll be curious how much leaks out beforehand. I'll also be curious as to what leaks out if it's accurate.
Exactly.
Is it accurate?
You must control the message, David. It's important.
I've heard
That's
that.
why you can get engaged and wait 4 or 5 days before you put the information out if you control the message. Because you know what? We went right past the lead like we often do on this show. But America's super couple is now engaged.
Hey, listen, Miller and Moulton, we're going to pat ourselves on the back on this one. Very early in this thing, we said, this thing's going the distance. All right. I was adamant about it. Okay.
Well, and you were adamant. And at the time when they first started dating, you got to go back on this show a little bit. Felipe Alvarez was our producer at the time. Great kid. He's back in Miami. We both adore Felipe. We really do. David wanted to fire him 47 times.
Even though I adored him, okay, and was very, very nice to him. And yes, wanted to fire him 6 times.
He was good cop to Felipe. I was bad cop in trying to get him to just do his job better.
Tough love.
And it never really happened. This job was not for Felipe.
No, it wasn't.
Could not do the hours. Felipe is a diehard hooper. He's an NBA fan, and he's trying to watch West Coast games, and he's up till 1 a.m. thinking he can burn the candle at both ends, and he couldn't do it. Right. And again, I can't say enough good things about Felipe. I think he's a wonderful young man, and David and I wish him nothing but success throughout his life.
Even though he would literally fall asleep in the middle of our segments. Okay?
I would throw things at the glass. There's a glass partition between the production room and the main studio, if you will. And I would throw things at the window to wake him up so he could press the button for us to go to commercial break.
Right.
That's a true story. But Felipe was adamant from day one that this was a staged couple, that this was done it was a publicity stunt.
Right.
And that this had nothing. And so yesterday when I saw the news of the engagement, and I text Felipe every once in a while, David's probably a lot better at connecting with people than I am. I'm lazy. I'll be really honest. I got a daughter and a wife. It's enough in my day. But I sent Felipe a text yesterday and said, it looks like you lost the Taylor Swift-Kelsey bet. And to Felipe's credit, he responded within seconds, and he said, you and David were literally the first people I thought of. And so he and I had a good chat yesterday about a few things.
All over it. I knew it right away. I said, they're going the distance, buddy. This is perfect timing, and the publicity stuff. Give me a break. Who? That's what I would always say to who. She doesn't need it. Okay? And what?
And he really wouldn't want it otherwise.
And, so, and goodness knows the NFL wasn't smart enough to put this together to attract the one demo they've never attracted to before. I mean, seriously? Please.
I literally now could buy my daughter a Travis Kelce jersey and she would proudly wear it. There's not a doubt in my mind. I picked her up from school yesterday. We're chatting about her day. And, it's about a 25-minute, 30-minute drive. And we're chatting about her day, talking about this, that, and the other. I said, oh, my God, I forgot the big news. She's like, what? And I said, they're getting married. She said, who? I said, Taylor and Trent. She was so excited. I showed her. I said, grab my phone. I said, I've got an Instagram account. Look it up. She was beside herself with excitement. I said, so you're still a Chiefs fan? Yeah.
Ask her the big question. I mean, now everybody believes this will be his final year. Okay. And then he'll retire. They'll go get married. Hopefully live happily ever after. Do the Swifties stay Chiefs fans once hubby is retired?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, they walk right away from the NFL just the same way that he will.
Okay. Just didn't know. I mean, supposedly she's now, quote, obsessed, unquote, with the game. I mean, I don't know. Don't know how many of these Swifties are now, quote, obsessed with the NFL.
Well, it's interesting because it certainly seems like Jason still likes to watch football. I wonder if Travis will be watching football post-career. To me, he now looks like someone that could walk away from this sport without a problem completely. Miller and Moulton, Seth Everett, Bud Elliott, Chris Perkins all on the show today. The starting five, 25 minutes away.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floormeisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floormeisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floormeisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, I think Levitt will make the count before the starting or before the good, bad, and ugly.
Yes, he will. I can guarantee it.
I kind of figured as much.
Got to, unfortunately.
I have no idea what the Pinellas perch snatcher is, so I guess I'm missing something.
That's yeah, I don't know either.
That what you're calling Levitt because he stole the Louis Vuitton bag. I
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour, the starting five in a little more than 15 minutes time. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Today, like yesterday, you had two poll questions lined up before the show.
No, there is nothing on the holiday, this is the day of calendar that leads to any sort of poll question.
Gotcha. It's not
So
National
for the
Dog
most
Day.
part, no, for the most part, we're going to have to work. We're going to actually have to do something that,
Gotcha.
well, David, we don't like to do on this show, and that's have poll questions that are about sports.
Right. Because
But for the record, 74% of you are big dog people, and 2/3 of you properly fold your toilet paper, while 1/3 of you, for whatever reason, crumble and try to bring down society at large.
didn't realize this was as big an issue with you as we found it is. My goodness. So, Major League Baseball made an announcement yesterday. I don't know if anybody cares about this, but, we jokingly refer to the 6 a.m. hour as the baseball hour. That's when, in theory, older people are up and older people are attracted to baseball. So Mark, many years ago, referred to this hour on the show as the baseball hour. Did you see baseball's announcement yesterday?
I don't know what announcement you're referring to. I mean,
Well, I'm only aware of one announcement that they made. They announced next year's schedule.
okay. I mean, there was the Netflix story of them having the World Baseball Classic, which isn't really Major League Baseball. I didn't know if you were talking about the player who hit his coach in the face with the bat and got a 6-game suspension. There were a couple of things
Right.
baseball-wise, but yeah, they announced the 2026 schedule.
Right. Wilson Contreras, by the way, was the player who was ejected and had an out-of-body experience. And in amongst him yelling at the umpire and being demonstrative, his bat ended up hitting his coach in the face.
And it was a toss, not a throw. But either way, toss a wooden object into my face when I'm not expecting it. I don't think I'd like it much either.
No, I could see where that would bum you out a little bit.
I think so.
So the reason I bring it up is that, first off, most of our audience is in the state of Florida. Sorry, Huntsville. But secondly, so spring training's a thing. And Mark, remember when the last week of March was, spring training?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do. Not too long ago either, David.
Right. Like still in this decade.
Right.
Actually, the last week of March was still spring training. Yeah, it ain't anymore. It ain't anymore. Last week of March is Major League Baseball season. We've been talking about college football, and should it start their season earlier, and should week 1 actually move to when week 0 is? And when we had Brando on last week, he said start the season on August 9th. And we were like, oh my goodness, that's when kids go to school in Florida, for goodness sakes. Right. Major League Baseball is going to start their season earlier than ever before next year on March 25th. And they're starting with just one game. The Yankees in San Francisco to face the Giants. Now, I have no idea what the weather's like in late March in San Francisco. I know
neither do they, David.
You're right. I know apparently the worst time to be in San Francisco is late July. That's apparently winter. That San Francisco's weather is so messed up that the coldest nights in San Francisco are apparently in late July and early August. But anyway. But then everybody else is going to play the very next day, March 26th. And they will end their regular season, Mark, the earliest that they've ended it in quite some time, September 27th. So it seems to me as if baseball is beginning to carve out a different calendar. And all the stuff that's being talked about in the future, expansion, will add 2 teams, and that'll probably lead to either an extra round of the playoffs or longer playoffs, because we'll add 2 teams to the playoff, like hockey and basketball. And yeah. And it seems, Mark, as if they desperately don't want to play games in November. And that's why they keep pushing everything up.
Well, and also in that time, correct me if I'm wrong, David, they have tried to carve out a day or 2 more of rest during the season, of giving teams a few more days off during the course of the grind. So not only have they expanded forward in March, and for a while later into November, they did that because they've carved out an extra handful of days for these guys to have off during the regular season.
Yeah, there's a lot of discussion within baseball about whether or not the schedule is leading to these injuries, and do they need to account for more time, and can they basically come up with a schedule in the near future where everybody gets a day off a week, where they don't have
really easy. They play 140 some odd games.
Well, that's actually part of it, Mark.
I know.
Where do the math, 26 weeks, 26 times 6 is what? It's 156. So if you want to have a schedule where you're guaranteed 1 day off a week, that's how you do it. 27 times 6 is 162. So what's Major League Baseball going to do? It's being discussed. Apparently, Manfred's in favor of reducing the number of games.
He will have a difficult time getting something like that through. Because one, attendance, simple as that. A few more gates for the owners. They know exactly what they make every game.
Yep.
But the other side of it, and the more important side of it, it's only something we've been professing on this show for 19 plus years, is all sports are what, David?
TV shows.
They're TV shows. And live television is the last thing that we watch. In fact, I saw a headline, I didn't really dig into it, about how much more effective ads are in the NFL than anywhere else because of how much they are seen. But the same can be said regionally for all these baseball teams. These are the number one and number two most watched shows in all of their markets. And as the regional cables busting apart, they're still making some money on their broadcasts. Not what they were, but as they're trying to do different things, taking the broadcast on their own, going over the air, they may need those games for revenue, David.
The thought right now is, believe it or not, Manfred can make up the lost revenue for the owners by giving up 3 home games. Remember, if you lose 6 games, you figure you lose 3 home, you lose 3 away. That Manfred, through expansion and an extra round of playoffs or more games in the playoffs, that he can make up the revenue for all the owners that they can afford to lose the 3 home dates. Here could be the biggest concern. Do you think the owners will continue to pay what they're paying players today if they're working 6 less games? There's fear that the owners are essentially then going to look at the players during negotiations and go, if we reduce the schedule, we got to reduce the pay. Now, I understand 6 out of 162 or 156, that's, less than 4%. Well, when the average salary's just under $5 million, okay, it's $200,000. That's the average baseball player would lose $200,000.
Multiply that times 25 guys on a roster, and you see the math that we're getting at here.
Right. It's now up to 26, times it by 30 or 32, and so it's complicated. But anyway, baseball very subtly yesterday said, hey, we're going to start the season on March 25th. It's one of the best weeks of the year in Florida. It's the final week of March. And they're like, yeah, it ain't spring training anymore. It's baseball. Summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for details.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton. You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Seth Everett, Bud Elliott, Chris Perkins. Still to come on Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. By the way, one other dorky scheduling note. I'll be very curious what the NFL does next year. Mark, we've talked about this now for 20 plus years. The NFL has not wanted to play on Labor Day weekend. They feel that in large parts of the country, it's the final weekend of the summer. They have data that shows that ratings and attendance are 10 to 15% less when they play their games on Labor Day Sunday, and Monday Night Football is Labor Day, than when they play it the Thursday, Sunday, Monday after Labor Day. Well, this year, Labor Day is the earliest date it can be. It's September 1st. You know what that means, right?
I do, David. I do. That means it's the latest it can be next year.
It's September 7th.
Right.
So if you're the NFL, are you going to wait until Thursday, September 10th to play your season opener?
Which would take the regular season into the second week of January, right?
It would seem to, off the top of my head.
Yes,
right.
How I added this up. That means that January 10th. So they'd play the 3rd and the 10th.
And then doesn't that make the Super Bowl the second weekend of February?
Which, by the way, is February the 14th.
And I think that's when the Super Bowl is scheduled for 2027. I should know that because we at ABC actually have the game. It's kind of a big deal. They haven't had one of those suckers in over 20 years. But so that's what I'm curious, because also then what does that do if you're college football? I mean, think about the opportunity you have next year in college football. I mean, if Labor Day weekend next year is the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, I mean, how early you want to go? I mean, heck, you could play your week 1 if you wanted. Week 1, not week 0. I mean, you could play week 1, Mark, and be what? Saturday the 29th of August? Be your week 1 game? Isn't that when you're playing week 1 this year?
It is. You're right. But week 1 traditionally is Labor Day weekend. They get a lot of mileage off of what? Games on Sunday and Monday to kick off the season.
Right.
I mean, they're going Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Right. Here's one other thing, and I don't know if the NFL, I mean, they don't seem to have a sentimental bone in their body, but if they wait till after Labor Day next year, and they're going to start the season then on Thursday, September 10th, Mark, what's the next day?
September 11th, David.
The 25th anniversary of September 11th. Baseball has scheduled the Mets and Yankees in New York City on that day. My guess is, I'll make a prediction right now, Fox televises the game. Okay. Does the NFL just say, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Business as usual. We're playing Friday in Brazil. That's what we do now. Second game of the year, we play internationally. We've settled on Brazil. That's what we're doing. America's game in Brazil on September 11th. I'll be curious what they do.
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the Starting Five.
Well, we'll start with the NFL. Cutdown day was yesterday. A few names, which therefore led to a few surprises. It had been talked about, would Vrabel do this? One of Bill Belichick's last first-round picks, remember he drafted that offensive lineman Cole Strange late in the first round 3 years ago, and people were like, dude, he's a third-round pick. At best, what are you doing? Well, after 3 years, Vrabel's like, he ain't starting for us, and at that salary, we'll get rid of him. So the Patriots cut Cole Strange. Got to believe he gets picked up, and got to believe he gets picked up by somebody pretty high on the waiver wire, but still. Bills released defensive tackle Jordan Phillips and cornerback Trey Herndon, a couple veterans. Dolphins got rid of tight end Pharaoh Brown. Carolina released wide receiver Hunter Renfrow. Lions release offensive lineman Dan Skipper. That was infamously the lineman who did or did he not report a couple years ago against the Cowboys. He was their extra lineman, and he went from being their sixth offensive lineman to being released in a little over a year's time. Packers cut a couple guys you've heard of before, former first-round pick Isaiah Simmons and wide receiver Nicole Hardman. Saints cut running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That's after the day earlier they had cut running back Cam Akers. And the Saints also named Spencer Rattler their starting quarterback. We kind of hinted we thought they'd go in that direction just because he's got 6 career starts and the other guy's a rookie and he's got none. Falcons place right tackle Caleb McGarry not just on injured reserve, on season-ending injured reserve. I know he's the right tackle, but the Falcons quarterback is left-handed. That's their blindside tackle. And he's now out for the year for the Falcons. Ouch. Seattle cut wide receiver Marquez Valdez-Scantling. College football news. Colorado names Caden Salter their starting quarterback. He beat out the 4-star high school recruit. Salter was Liberty's starting quarterback the last 3 years. Colorado opens Friday at home against Georgia Tech.
Fun little game right there. You and I are high on the Yellow Jackets. We think they could be a very salty ACC team. If that's the case, they go to Boulder and win. They're, is it 2.5 or 4.5 point favorite in that game are the Yellow Jackets?
It has fluctuated wildly, actually, over the last 6 weeks. I don't know what it is now. I'm telling you, the ACC is going to be interesting. Yeah, Clemson. And then Miami and SMU are supposed to battle it out as to who plays them in the conference championship game. Louisville, Georgia Tech.
Wait for it. Here it is. Moulton and about 6 people have this one. Who, David?
Pitt.
Yeah.
Just telling you, the ACC is going to be salty. I don't know if it's going to be Big 12 salty, but I think it's going to be close. Tennessee adds a year to Josh Heupel's contract, which is cute. I mean, like it matters. I mean, they can give him a 15-year extension when Oklahoma comes calling at the end of this year. I mean, is it really going to matter? But anyway, he's under contract through 2029. Ex-South Florida head coach Jim Leavitt facing charges. Apparently, he had an incident with an ex-girlfriend Monday night. The 68-year-old actually facing a couple felony charges right now. We'll see what happens to him, including one of them. I guess he stole her purse, and it was a Louis Vuitton, so it was worth X amount of money. And that's why it's a felony. And anyway.
By X amount of money, I want to say like $5,000.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's
right.
where the felony part comes in.
Jim Leavitt's 68 years old now. He is scheduled to be inducted into South Florida's Hall of Fame on October 2nd. And quite frankly, he should have been in it years ago.
Right. But with this happening, and I'm being 100% serious, can you really go on with this ceremony while the coach is facing pending charges down the road?
Well, we'll see. It's still early. In 5 weeks, we'll see what happens to the charges. We'll see if the matter gets adjudicated. You know me, Mark, innocent till proven guilty. Would I go through with the ceremony if I'm South Florida? Damn right I would.
It's domestic battery.
I know.
I'm just saying.
I know.
Just saying.
I'm saying if the matter is not adjudicated between now and October 2nd, okay, you're darn right I'm going through with the ceremony. First off, if I was running things at South Florida, Jim Leavitt would have been in the Hall of Fame 10 years ago. He hasn't coached in 15 years at South Florida. All right. He got fired. It was a controversial firing, an allegation from a player that he struck him at halftime the year before. Most successful coach in Bulls history, 13 years. Hell, at one point, South Florida was ranked second in the country.
Right. He's very handsy, David.
Apparently so. SEC announced a week or so ago, hey, we're going to 9 conference games beginning next year. Well, one of the repercussions, Alabama and West Virginia canceled their home and home, which was scheduled to begin next year. Alabama's like, I already got South Florida. I got Florida State. Not going to play, 11 power conference games. Sorry, not going to do it. Florida and South Carolina and Georgia may do it, but we ain't going to do it. So they dropped West Virginia.
That's too bad. Rich Rod hadn't been there since the interview.
I know. That's funny, by the way. That's funny.
Thank you.
Hey, Rich, remember when you were here 20 years ago? Baseball. We just talked about it. They announced their schedule for next year. Earliest opener ever in the United States. March 25th, the Yankees will be in San Francisco to play the Giants. Everybody else will open the next day. You may notice that the Rays open with 9 on the road. You got to think that's given the construction workers a little more time to get the trop ready. So their home openers nearly 2 weeks after the Yankees kick the season off. Final day of the regular season next year, September 27th. Last night, Mets and Phillies. Phillies can't win in New York all of a sudden. They've lost 9 straight at Citi Field, including the 2 playoff games last year. Phillies rallied from a 5-2 deficit, tied it, only for the Mets to get 4 straight hits in the 9th and win it 6-5. Phillies lead down to 5. They have 5 more meetings today and next week. I mean, don't get me wrong. I still think the Phillies are winning the division, but okay. Now,
entertaining game last night. I will say that, David. I know you're all in because you're a Mets fan, but just sitting watching, I enjoyed that game. Back and forth. Couple of good plays, home runs late. Loved it.
But what has happened the last 2 nights is that the Mets have won and the Reds have lost in L.A. Dodgers beat them 6-3. Kershaw, by the way, is 9-2. Hell, I don't think he started pitching until right before the All-Star break. He's got 9 wins. Dodgers with a 4-run 6 to win it. Reds are now 3.5 back, 4 in the loss column in the wild card chase. Padres keep pace. They beat Seattle 7-6. Seattle's still a game and a half behind Houston. Astros lost 6-1. Toronto lost to Minnesota, and both the Red Sox and Yankees won. So the Jays lead is 4 over Boston, 4.5 over the Yankees. Stanton with a homer and 5 RBIs yesterday in the Bronx. Tigers lost in 10 to the A's. They lead the Royals by 9.5. Royals 2 in the 8th, 3 in the 9th. Much needed win against the White Sox. They're 3 behind Seattle for the final playoff spot. Rays lost 3-0 in Cleveland, snapped the Guardians' 6-game losing streak. Marlins gave up 9 in the 9th to lose to the Braves 11-2 before 8,576. By the way, the Cardinals have just played before the 2 smallest crowds in the new Busch Stadium's history. 17-7 on Monday night, 18-6 last night. They lost to the Pirates 8-3. Milwaukee with 1 in the 9th beat Arizona. Cubs lost in San Francisco. It leads Milwaukee's lead is 6.5. Texas beat the Angels 7-3. No major upsets in U.S. Open tennis. Venus Williams, by the way, got an invite to play doubles with Leylah Fernandez. And today, 11 o'clock, Keegan Bradley will let us know who the other 6 players are on the U.S. Ryder Cup team, and will he name himself a playing captain, the first since Arnie in 63. And at 7 minutes before the hour, that was the starting five. 5 big stories. And is Keegan a player captain here on Miller and Moulton?
Happened to run into an old friend of mine and your acquaintance as well, George McNeil, yesterday, former PGA pro. And I was with he and Tom Buckley, who's my real estate boss, if you will, former local hockey player. And those two are really good friends. Tom and I are good friends. And we were talking, and George doesn't watch golf at all, doesn't care. But I did ask the both of them, should Keegan pick himself? Tom immediately said yes. George said no. And he said, it's a lose-lose for him. Unless he plays great and they win, if he doesn't pick himself and they lose, well, he should have picked himself. If he picks himself and they lose, he picked the wrong guy. We'll see. When you're craving the real taste of Chicago, there's only one name to know. Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor. We fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe is where your fantasy football draft should be. Free private rooms, Wi-Fi, plus food and drink specials. In August, Shoeless has bingo and trivia Tuesdays and Thursdays with your chance to win free wings and beer for a year. Fridays, live music on the deck. Saturdays, karaoke on the deck. Plus daily meal specials like Wednesdays, $6 wings and half-price pizza. Watch all your baseball and football at Shoeless Joe's, your home for good food, good times, and good sports in the Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Had to go in and give my mother-in-law her 7 a.m. pill, and she's more than half out of it. But at the end, she says, "Have a good show."
Fantastic.
Thanks, Janet. DC, I always called them the Ramblin' Wreck too growing up.
All right, we need a poll question.
Huh. Are you watching the U.S. Open?
Okay.
I
was thinking more football with the
I know.
season beginning tomorrow. God, I love you. I mean, are you watching?
I'm just
love it.
spitballing here.
I know you're a sports fan, David. We've talked about this many a time.
Right.
Are you watching more of the U.S. Open, the WNBA, or the Live Tour? Who's going to win the Heisman? Arch Manning, the Clemson quarterback there. Nuss.
You know I hate the Heisman talk. You're doing that just to get me.
I hate the U.S. Open talk. So there.
I know. It's why I said you're doing it to even
How
the
long
score.
does Travis and Taylor's marriage last?
Listen, I say a quick kid, she doesn't tour for like 5+ years. That's my prediction. Because I think she just released this album. I don't think she has plans on touring off this album.
Well, J. Ray, I hate to tell you this. They helped make your bed. You have to lie in it. And from the sounds of it, the folks in Columbus were all for this.
Yeah. This seems to be trying to rewrite history here. We could ask, do you think schools should be able to bar certain members of the media? I think you'd be surprised how many of them think they should be able to. We've become very polarizing, and the people we hate, we hate.
There's 3 or 4 there that I actually don't mind.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this final Wednesday of August. We're getting over the hump together. Seth Everett, Bud Elliott, Chris Perkins to join us 1 hour from now. We do not have a poll question. We've been kicking it around during the commercial break. Where are we going to go today since we don't have National Peanut Butter Day or Dog Day or, toilet paper day, anything like that to fall back on worth a damn? We actually have to come up with a question on our own. It's very disappointing.
It is. And there are a few different directions we could go in. You love your tennis. You love it. You are I don't know if this is the New Jersey but I mean, being close to the city.
Right.
I don't know if it's the fact that you were born and raised and could get on a train and be in the city in 45 minutes that the U.S. Open is that big of a deal to you. The U.S. Open, and Wimbledon's a much bigger deal to me from a tennis standpoint. The U.S. Open, it's cool. It's fine. Tennis doesn't do it for me. But I can throw out there, are you watching the U.S. Open? I think it's interesting because not sure about our Tampa market. I don't think Jacksonville is a big tennis place. I don't think Port Charlotte and Lake City are big tennis places. I don't think Huntsville is at all. But Naples, Florida, half of our listenership of where we started and probably have the largest audience, Naples is big-time tennis country.
Yes. Yes, it is. So just asking, that was my thought. Hey, are you even watching the U.S. Open? Because it's 3 days in. I mean, it started Sunday. They've now at least done the smart thing. They want to end it on a Sunday. Remember, it used to extend the men's singles final for a bunch of years. They'd have it Monday afternoon, and that was ridiculous. So now they're starting it a day early. They're still giving you 15 days to get the tournament in, but they're ending it 2 Sundays from now.
And I watched a little bit of Venus because I happened to be on X and saw that she was playing. I'm like, 45 years old? She's hanging?
Right.
I'm going to watch this. That's the sports fan in me. Other than that, I may, and I doubt it, watch the men's or women's final. But those are going to be across from this thing called football.
Correct.
So I doubt I'll watch hardly any of it.
And Mark, by the way, it is twofold. Okay, growing up near enough that obviously the 2-week-long tournament got a ton of coverage, but also our ages, what's considered the Renaissance period of tennis was the mid 70s into the mid 90s. Well, I mean, that's wheelhouse time for me. That's between the ages of 10 and 30. So, that's go time. All the famous stuff that happened at the U.S. Open. McEnroe won it 4 times. Jimmy won it 5. Jimmy's run to the semis at age 39. I mean, that's all wheelhouse for me, but that's a long time ago. And I've said that today's generation player, while amazing, I mean, if you watch video of that heyday era of tennis that I talked about, and you watch Alcaraz and Sinner run around and hit the ball, I mean, it's 2 totally different sports. Okay. But the style of play today, it's kind of like basketball and baseball for that matter. I have to admit, I'm having a little trouble with baseball. I love baseball, but this home run or nothing thing bores the hell out of me. All these strikeouts, no base runners. Come on, guys. It needs to come on. Put the damn ball in play.
No, this is where Miller and Moulton are the old guys on the porch. Whatever happened to the guy who knew the first pitch was going to be a strike and he was going to put the ball in play? Now, you can't do that for the most part. You're taking pitches because you're trying to build the pitch count up of your opposing pitcher.
Do you know how many hitters are hitting 300 or above in the National League? 300. That's it. 300.
No. I would guess, and I don't know. I would guess you could count it on one hand.
Mark, I can't believe you guessed that. Okay, because I mean, that's an incredibly low number. Yeah, entering play last night, you know how many players in the National League were hitting 300? 1. Freddie Freeman was hitting 302. Trey Turner was second at 299. In the league.
And David Sampson is the one who pointed this out, and we've had David on the show for quite a while. When we talked about Arise, that when he was with the Miami Marlins and he's been traded 3 times,
right?
When they start paying for batting average, guys will start worrying about batting average, but they don't pay for batting average.
Nope. So, but anyway, I mean, we've complained about the style of play in basketball, too many threes. Some of us are now starting to complain about, got to admit, too much of this baseball is boring. Strikeout or home run. I mean, there's nothing else to the game, right? And, I got to admit, nothing but baseliners. Nobody serves in volleys. People don't even get a short ball and come to the net aggressively anymore. It's embarrassing how badly top 10 players on both sides volley. They can't. Nobody plays doubles anymore. Okay, so they don't know how to volley. I mean, so
and that like golf, because of technology and how great the rackets are. Now, when you go look at what the McEnroes and Connors were playing with compared to the equipment they use now, you understand why the serves are as hard as they are. Not to mention, we've never had athletes across the board in every sport in more peak condition than we
Right.
do now.
No doubt. No
These
doubt.
guys are all machines, and gals. Tennis, golf. I mean, the golfers used to party and drink beers after the round. They go work out now. Golfers, for crying out loud.
Right. Listen, in all honest, Martina and Yvonne Lendl in the mid 80s brought physical fitness to tennis. McEnroe never worked out. He played tennis. Chris Everett didn't work out. She played tennis. Connors didn't lift weights. He played tennis. Okay. I mean, McEnroe laughed at Lendl when he started, and then Lendl started beating him. And John thought, maybe there's something to this. Maybe I might have to get in a little better shape, start lifting weights.
What's funny, David, is I listened to all of our old guy on the porch comments that we just gave. I mean, we just did a very quick takedown
We did.
of tennis, basketball, and baseball without batting an eye. Football's changed a lot.
Yep, it has.
A lot. They don't, I mean, you go watch the highlights from a generation ago, and you think about receivers now that go over the middle. That was a death wish 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And quarterbacks didn't throw that pass because
way.
they didn't want their receiver to be decapitated.
I mean, throwing a back shoulder throw to a tight end running down the seam? Are you kidding me? It ended his career 20, 30, 40 years ago. Well, and we have talked about how the game has changed, at the NFL films making of the NFL in the 70s. The sport was very running back, middle linebacker oriented. And now obviously that's changed. It's quarterback, wide receiver oriented.
But the interesting thing is you go back to whether it's the 70s, the 80s, whatever you want to go, we can point to great receivers.
Uh-huh.
The phenomenal catches of the Fred Biletnikovs, of the Lynn Swans, of the Largents. I mean, we can just sit there and go through all of the great receivers, and we've lost. But the funny part is last year with Saquon, what did we get? A little bit of the return of the running back.
Derrick Henry and Saquon, between the two of them, putting up around 4,000 yards. Imagine that, handing the ball off. It can be sexy. Who knew? So hey, you want a poll question? What sport is better today than 40 years ago?
What are we listing?
Well, that's just, we'd have to come up with it.
I think football wins all answers on this. But
how about if we ask that? Is football better today than 30 years ago? That was the triplets in Dallas. That was Favre and the Packers. That was still Elway and the Broncos. That was still the Niners. The Niners had the 18-year run there? Like 81 through 98, in which they had like 2 losing seasons and, how many Super Bowls? And they won 5, I think. That was still Montana transitioned to Young, but you still had Jerry Rice as the best receiver in the game. I'm just curious. NFL now. Better now or better in the 90s? College football, by the way. College football. Better now or better? Hell, we can go back 20 years with college football. You had the USC dynasty. You had Tebow and the Gators. You had Vince Young in Texas. You had Bob Stoops in Oklahoma. Had a great run in the 2000s. Great run. Played for the title 3 times, won it once. College football in the 2000s was sexy. Better now or then?
I think that's a little bit of a text question, but I love it. I would love to hear from the texters. 21,000 keywords Miller. Whether it's the football question, we could ask that from a poll question, but what sport today do you think's better than it was 20, 30 years ago?
You and I are hockey guys.
I think the playoffs in hockey are better now than they've ever been. I would argue the regular season isn't.
I'd agree.
Because there is no argument out there to say that these athletes aren't the best athletes we've ever seen. Name the sport, we'll find the athlete.
Right.
It doesn't matter whether it's hockey, basketball, golf, football. It does not matter. We have never produced a more complete athlete than what we're doing today. But does that make the sport better?
So pick your poison. See if you like any of that for a poll question.
Lot to chew on there. I've got a very tough commercial break ahead of me. Probably won't even have but one sip of coffee.
Well, you know what you did, okay? See, I was sitting back in my chair. I didn't have a lot of energy, all right? And then you went after my beloved U.S. Open tennis, and that got a rise out of me, okay? So now I brought my A game. Fine, all right? You want to talk about that? How about this? And while we're at it, how about that and this and that and this?
Moulton came to the net. Serve and volley Moulton. American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Faro and Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Faro and Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Faro and Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
This is Miller and Moulton.
It's funny, Sonny. I think the best decade for baseball was the 80s. You had 9 different teams win the World Series in those 10 years.
All right, what do you want to go with here? How much? I mean, we did 74 poll questions there.
I know.
And they were all good. I've got no problem with any of them.
Well, let's just stick with, our bread and butter. We'll do football. Do you want to ask which was better, 90s or today, or do you want to offer up 4 different decades of football?
That's what I was thinking. Someone said the 60s was better, which I would vehemently disagree with, but I wasn't alive.
You want to go 70s, 80s, 90s, or today? Huh? Little radio jingle there?
All right. So which decade of the NFL do you consider the best?
Mm-hmm.
70s. Do you want to start in the 8? Where do you, we only got 4 answers. So where do you want to
Right.
go?
No, I flippantly
70s,
said
80s?
seven.
Would
Sounding
you
like
put 70s, 80s in the same answer?
sure. So then don't call it a decade. Just say what period of time.
Yeah, which period of
Yeah,
time in the
or-
NFL you consider
yeah.
the best?
And I guess the word would be era that we're looking for if you want to go that. But I'm fine with period of time. 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s.
'70s, '80s, 2000s, today.
Do you go 90s/2000s?
You tell me.
I don't know. You can go with whatever you like.
I put '70s, '80s, 2000s, today's game.
Okay.
Kind of generational, if they're at least close. Got a lot of text.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks so much for being with us on this hump day, the final Wednesday of August. A day away from the start of the college football season, if you ask me. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Seth Everett, Bud Elliott, Chris Perkins to join us beginning at the top of the next hour. So I think we struck a nerve last segment.
I don't know if we struck a nerve. We got a lot of people thinking, and I think that's a good thing. I don't think we annoyed anybody. I think we presented a lot of cases, and I think a lot of people have various opinions, and the text line at 21,000 lit up a little bit. I will say it was funny. One of the first answers that we did get, at least we knew what a catch was in the NFL 30 years ago.
Well played, sir. Well played.
This gentleman says the NFL was better in style of play 25 years ago, but everything else is better nowadays. An old timer says the NFL in the 60s. I'll take your word for it. The one thing he did say that's better today than it was, and it's an off the beaten sport, track and field. Hard to argue in a sport where speed is everything that's not better now than it's ever been.
I know. And meanwhile, track and field back in the day was a big deal. There was a lot of track and field on television back in the day. I mean, come on now. ABC's Wide World of Sports. How many times was it a track and field meet?
David, I was just going to say those 4 words, Wide World of Sports. I mean, they showed you a lot of that. We knew who high jumpers were.
We did. We knew who sprinters were, hurdlers. So absolutely. I mean, well into the 80s, track and field was still a thing. Then it became very individualized.
Texter says today's athlete in the MLB can't stay on the field and then lists a bunch of players who have been hurt. I do believe MLB peaked late 2000s.
Okay. Interesting.
This person says that he loves college football. I enjoy access to being able to watch every game. I wish versus the regional coverage of the early days. But as far as the product, college football was definitely better in the 2000s, felt more nostalgia. The TV announcers were much better as well. That's a Keith Jackson fan right there.
Yeah, as well, and little Brent, little Vern. Okay, Gary's one of the last broadcasters from that era.
Yeah, you're right. I would say the early 2000s in college football, USC and Texas in their national championship game is probably still my favorite football game of all time.
Keith Jackson's final broadcast, him and Dan Fouts.
And then, let's see, this is kind of a long one here. None of the big four sports have gotten better. Equipment and rule changes have made the games different. If you like scoring, then it's great for the NFL, but they took away a lot of the defense as far as tackling and hitting. Boxing is terrible. I couldn't tell you who any of the champions are. The UFC, same thing with golf and live and the PGA. It's a joke. Even the Olympics, they're not what they used to be, and they are not better. And I will tell you this, if the Super Bowl becomes pay-per-view, I won't watch it.
Wow. He channeled his inner sports talk show host there. He went and kind of started one way and ended another. Way to go.
This is one that I find slightly amusing. And I appreciate all of you texting. I do. I try to respond to you if we don't do them on the air, but I think this one's cute. College players played for the spirit of their team, not the money. Gosh, that's funny.
So we got a comment.
Reggie Bush on line 2.
Hello. We got a Keith Jackson of Oklahoma famous line. He's just trying to make as much with the Eagles as he did with the Sooners. We got a comment in the chat room about, the NBA better in the, 90s, I think the comment was, than it is today. Now, obviously, you can look at everything. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Number of Hall of Famers involved in this series, from the coaches to the players. But the 98 NBA Finals, Utah and Chicago, Stockton and Malone, Jerry Sloan, and, of course, the Bulls. The Jazz never scored more than 88 points in this tremendous 6-game series. Never scored more than 88 in a game. The Bulls never scored more than 96 in any of the 6 games. 88-85, 93-88, 96-54, by the way, game 3 in Chicago. Bulls
That's
won.
a doozy.
Yeah. 86-82, 83-81, 87-86 when Michael hit the shot, and we thought it was his last shot. Those were the scores of the games. Now, doesn't mean that the basketball sucked just because, if you scored 88 points, basically you won. But that's how different the heyday of the NBA, those that talk about, those Knicks Heat series. I mean, those were playoff games in the 70s, by the way. 70s. And I'm not talking decade. I'm talking final score. But style of play was obviously very different. Mark, you and I are hockey guys, okay? And there are times when hockey today can be low scoring. It's a totally different style of low scoring game than it was that you and I grew up in, which was clutching and grabbing and felonies all over the ice. And now it's low scoring because the goaltending's better, the equipment, the style of play and keeping you on the perimeter and the emphasis on blocking shots. It's just a totally different game.
Yeah, I don't recognize it, and I spent my young adult life as a hockey play-by-play announcer. The game is not even close to the game that I worked in.
So that's why when we bring it up, listen, there is no wrong answer. It's your personal preference. Also, I think how old you are probably influences your answer.
No doubt. I love what Fly Panda Fly said in the chat room. The question just boils down to, at what age did you become a jaded old-timer? That is hilarious. That is flat out hilarious. You know, someone says soccer is much better than it was 20, 25 years ago. I have no perspective because 20 to 25 years ago, I was not watching soccer at all. But I am now. But I don't know. I have no bias to say one way. I would think that it is because the athletes are better. They're diving just as much then as they probably are now.
I do like the fact, while I think the officiating in soccer is not good, they are desperately trying to make it better. I mean, the replay has certainly helped. We know what a goal is now in soccer, okay? And we can, I think, take a look at whether or not something in the box was a handball or not. I mean, that's certainly made the sport better, quote, more fair. You know, Maradona's hand of God doesn't happen now like it happened in '86.
Gentleman says, is there any sport that has declined over the past 30 years more than boxing? I don't think that there is. You know, a couple of listeners really enjoying you going down memory lane with the announcers. But this person says, I just think that overall sports peaked in 2000.
Sports peaked in the 2000s. Interesting.
21,000, that's the text line. We did get a poll question up. It is NFL-esque. Which era of the NFL do you consider the best? We put the 70s and 80s up collectively as one, the 2000s as another, and today's game as your final choice. We'll retweet it momentarily. Miller_Moulton on X for the moment. Soon to be at that Mark Miller, the David Moulton on X.
I want to nominate Johnny Fingerlakes in our Twitch chat room as the early show listener of the day, because this is holding a grudge, Mark, and you and I can hold a grudge. He said, I'm still at Major League Baseball for the designated hitter. Yeah, that's right. 50 years, and I'm still mad at him. That's a grudge we can respect.
When you're craving the real taste of Chicago, there's only one name to know. Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy. Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe. And
This is Miller and Moulton.
That's crazy. So you know how a lot of the I didn't forget the 90s, Michael. Just Jesus, leave me alone. I put 3 eras that are all a generation apart, 20 years. The 90s were as close to the 80s as they were to the 2000s. The 2010s were as close to both. Separation. It's not about what team, it's about the style of football. I understand that every decade had really good teams. I got to be honest, Michael, you complain a lot for a young dude. You really do. But you know how a lot of the Nazis went to Argentina in World War II to get out of the trouble that was coming their way. But in all the art, so SS officer who ended up in Argentina for decades died in 1979. His daughters live in the house. They recently put it for sale. One of the many paintings that the Nazis stole throughout Europe, then obviously were never recovered. They found one of the paintings in this house, like still.
Oh,
Right.
wow.
I mean, that's kind of cool. I just
Sure.
And of course, the daughter, like, what do you want from me? You know, it's like, I'm not supposed to. It's like, no, we just found the painting. It needs to go back to the family who owned it. Hey, Michael, they named a starting quarterback, Colorado. When's the statue go up?
That's a boom. That's a dig right there. Well, then, Johnny, they probably vote today. Oh,
And you're probably right, Johnny. It's a and I'm kind of mad at myself because I picked the 2000s and I have my reason behind it. But I'm always one that likes the next game. I mean, that's really been my philosophy for 19 shows. What's your favorite game? The next game. I put things in the rearview mirror pretty quickly.
Ha! I love people wanting us to put an over-under on how long Travis and Taylor are going to be married. There's a part of me that's troubled by that.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Seth Everett joins us then. Bud Elliott, 1 hour from now. And Chris Perkins to talk Dolphins at the start of our bonus hour. Mark, I don't know if it's appearing on the text line, 21,000. If you haven't texted in a while, keyword Miller. Or for those of you in Tampa, St. Pete, who are just finding us and you've never texted us before, 21,000. But keyword Miller just one time, and then you're in. It's like a security gate. But, we do over-unders on just about everything that moves. There are people wanting us to do an over-under poll question on how long Taylor and Travis are going to be married. Is that today's sign of the apocalypse? Or should we be really proud of our audience that they're going down that road? Because nobody is advocating gambling over the last 19 years as much as Miller and Moulton.
David, the answer to that's yes. It's not one. It is the sign of the apocalypse. Yes, yes, it is. And is it awful? Yes, but I'm not surprised one bit. I'm just curious. A lot of artists, from their pain comes great music. And right. I will not try to say I am a large Taylor Swift fan. I've listened to enough of her music because my daughter's into it, and I kind of giggle sometimes when I listen to the words, and thank goodness the daughter's not paying that much attention. But can she be happy and write great music? A lot of great music comes from a dark spot. At least the music you and I like. She's a pop star. Maybe she can be happy with it. But we'll see.
I mean, Mark, I like to quote that 20th century, philosopher John Bon Jovi. Okay, like the poet needs the pain.
I've got nothing for that. I've got absolutely nothing. That's what I run to the text line.
Ladies and gentlemen, the marriage, and the digs that Miller and Moulton are taking at one another on the air that only Miller and Moulton know they're digging the other with. This show has been epic. Epic. Okay, I'm talking off the top rope. He hates Bon Jovi. I hate when he attacks the U.S. Open tennis tournament. Okay, we are in the center of the ring trading blows right now while doing a show.
Which brings it to this text when we ask, what era of sports was the best and things like that. Texter says, I think the 1300s was the best sports era. What's better than jousting? A sport where you can actually die. Real men back there. Well played, sir. Well played.
Basically, a big fan of the Coliseum days. Okay, live or die.
Who do you have, the Christians or the Lions?
And could you bet on it? All right,
absolutely.
Right.
Last man standing. Catholics and convicts got nothing on this. Nothing.
By the way, quick tangent. I say, first off, they're going to be married a while. Secondly, they're going to have a quick kid. This is Kelsey's last year. He's going to retire. They're going to get married. Okay. They're going to have a quick kid. She's in her mid-30s. Okay. And she's not going to tour the rest of the decade, is my prediction. She doesn't tour till that kid's like 3 or 4.
Unless it's a month at the Sphere.
Yeah. It's a little early in the career to do that, but I know what you're saying.
Somewhere.
Right.
That's not really a tour. I'll make this prediction. People want to do over-under on the marriage. When Taylor Swift performs at this year's Super Bowl, will she have a baby bump? I mean, I think they go to the modern wedding or at least the modern Florida wedding where you have the kid before the marriage.
Here's a poll question that we could have done. Does she take his last name?
Not a chance.
Okay. She doesn't do the hyphenated?
No.
I don't know. I'm just asking. Okay. That would have been a poll question. Oh, my goodness. The reaction we would have gotten, good and bad. My goodness. Here's my prediction, by the way. She doesn't do the Super Bowl until she's ready to tour. And so that'll be the early 2030s. Okay.
Yeah.
She will do the Super Bowl and then go on tour.
I just think all of the little, as she calls them, Easter eggs she gave in that interview, 60% of the time I'm infatuated with sourdough bread. Sourdough Sam is the name of the 49ers mascot. Where's the Super Bowl being held this year? Which Super Bowl is it?
60.
Yeah.
Santa Clara.
Right.
Look at you.
Oh, I didn't come up with that on my own. I
That's okay.
saw some people put that out. I'm like, they're on to something there.
All right. Back to, when sports was great. Today, yesterday, or beyond yesterday.
And I voted for the 2000s in football because the game had become more offensive. There was more passing, but we still had the hitting. We still were allowed to be violent. And I think that part of the game is left. And I probably should have voted for today's game because you know me, David. I don't live in games that were in the past. I live in the next game.
Right. I do.
What's your favorite game in the next game?
Right. I live in the past.
I was fired up for East Carolina and NC State as I am talking about the whatever Super Bowl.
Well, I would have been really fired. I mean, I'm fired up for Boise State and South Florida tomorrow, but I would have been really fired up if they had early birded it, and really gone all in at a 5:30 kickoff. I mean, come on, a 5:30 kickoff in Florida. Embrace everything about it. Okay?
Will the game start on time because of afternoon rains? How many weather delays will there be in Boise State, South Florida?
Over under 1.5.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Let's hope the weather holds off. It's like ESPN's. Come on, they're leading into Nebraska, Cincinnati from Arrowhead. They need that game to go swimmingly. Got to be off by 9. Come on now, boys.
There is, I will say, we've been talking about the early bird special, but even on Friday, I think Friday's the Colorado-Georgia Tech game.
Yep.
That Auburn-Baylor game intrigues the hell out of me. Auburn people have no idea what to expect out of the Tigers this year, and Baylor's one of the teams picked to win the Big 12, yet Auburn, I believe, is favored by 2.5 on the road.
In all seriousness, doesn't Baylor have to win? Isn't it a bad look for the Big 12?
Yes.
If one of your 5 favorites can't beat the team that's picked to be like 12th in the SEC?
100%. By the way, yesterday we spent a good deal of time talking about Dave Portnoy being banned from Ohio Stadium for the Texas-Ohio State game.
Right.
And by the end of the show, we wondered if we had reported inaccurately because the Ohio State AD came out and said, it's not us, it's Fox.
Well, right. And yes, that Fox, the network, has said they're not going to have Portnoy in the stadium to end the show, which is how they end their pregame show from 10 to noon, the last segment they do on the sidelines. That this was Fox's decision, not Ohio State's. And so we wondered, that's not what had been reported the day before. So do we all owe Ohio State an apology?
And
Mark?
Finally, the man himself came out and had what he likes to call an emergency press conference via social media, in which he just destroyed Ohio State and their administration and said it's all Ohio State. I've known this for a while. I'm trying to play nice with my new partners at Fox.
Now, he is very anti-Ohio State. Okay?
He is.
And, proud Michigan. So do you then take what he says about this subject matter with a grain or a pound of salt?
I do and I don't. I don't think he says that unless it's true. Because the other part of it is, he did talk about the financial loss that he had at Barstool because they were doing their show there too, and they had to cancel that. But I'm someone, Portnoy intrigues me. Yeah, I've said it a million times. It's a great American success story. And what they've pulled off and the fact that they do sports probably in the way I would have wanted to when I got in this business, to just let it fly and be able to say whatever the hell you want and have very few repercussions. It's intriguing as hell to me.
Now, I've never watched a second of Barstool, ever. And I'm sure that's a surprise to a great many of you. Not. All right. But I'm with you, Mark. One is that what he's done is remarkable. And two, he does have a reputation of, he does tell the truth, even when it's not good for him in Barstool. So he's got a track record of telling the truth. So we'll see. We've had now all three sides, if you will, if you can have three sides, all three sides to the story. The original reporting was Ohio State is just petty and childish and they need to grow up. Then for 6 or so, 8 hours yesterday, the Ohio State and Big Ten side, I guess, was, they found a couple members of the media to, get their side out, which was, not our doing. This was done by Fox. Yell at them. Okay, you guys owe us an apology. And then Portnoy last night was like, yeah, nobody owes them an apology. I've known I've been banned from that stadium for weeks now. Oh, okay. And I'm trying not to get anybody in hot water, but if you're going to badmouth my new employer, I got to say something.
So it is an interesting start to this whole Barstool Fox partnership that's happened in the last month or so, because their show begins on FS1, I think, next week, trying to take on the ESPN morning shows on TV. We hope you just keep listening to Miller and Moulton. Seth Everett coming up in about 10 minutes' time.
So there you have it.
I did try to throw a dig at David when he was giving me U.S. Open poll questions. I said, what if we put something up there on who's going to win the Heisman?
Oh, man. Man, do I hate Heisman talk.
Until what, about mid-November?
Even then, it seems a little early. I got to be honest. Heisman talk before Thanksgiving. Only because we've seen people literally come from off the ballot in late November and win the Heisman. Okay, we have. We've seen guys, by the way, who were a lock to win the Heisman. A lock to win the Heisman heading into conference championship weekend, lose the Heisman, i.e. Tua. Tua in 2018, that thing was over, done. He was winning the Heisman. And then he played badly and got benched. And Jalen Hurts came in and salvaged Alabama. And they came from behind and won the SEC title game. And you know who didn't win the Heisman? Tua. Johnny Manziel. Was anybody talking about Johnny Manziel in mid-November of 2012 to win the Heisman? No, they were not. And then he beat Alabama. 3:30 on CBS, by the way, when they were unbeaten and trying to repeat. And all of a sudden, we got to start to a redshirt freshman? Yeah, a redshirt freshman. Let's vote him for the Heisman. And 3 weeks later, you know who's at the Downtown Athletic Club? Johnny Manziel.
And Gator fan, when DJ Lagway beats Georgia, you going to be pounding your chest? I loved it. We're on in Jacksonville, and the guys that are on later in the day threw out a question yesterday. You could start one quarterback for one game. Who are you starting? Beck at Miami or DJ at Florida? And I couldn't answer DJ fast enough. It's availability that's his problem. It's not talent. If health is equal, I'm starting the kid in Gainesville every damn time. I think he's special. I don't think Beck's special.
If I could take out a credit card in which the sports god said to me, hey, donate $500 to the cause, what is the one thing you want to see happen this year? I can guarantee you it happens. I literally would look at him and go, can you give me 12 healthy DJ Lagway starts?
Bingo.
Just give me 12.
You and every Gator fan on the planet right now. Do you know the donation to the sports gods you could get for that in the state of Florida right now? Are you kidding me?
That's what I want to see.
They are chomping at the bit badly.
You have a good see. Are we overhyping him? Are we overhyping them? Okay. Are they still really a 7-5 program? Or you know what? Are they ready to bust through? You know, when Josh Pate, you and I like Josh Pate. We respect Josh Pate. He's not a clicks guy. When Josh Pate picked the Gators to go 9-3 and make the playoffs, Miller and Moulton looked at one another and said, Seth Everett next. Shoeless Joe Sports Cafe is where your fantasy football draft should be. Free private rooms, Wi-Fi, plus food and drink specials. In August, Shoeless has bingo and trivia Tuesdays and Thursdays with your chance to win free wings and beer for a year. Fridays, live music on the deck. Saturdays, karaoke on the deck. Plus daily meal specials like Wednesdays, $6 wings and half-price pizza. Watch all your baseball and football at Shoeless Joe's, your home for good food, good times, and good sports in the Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
Summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from that fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor. We fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller & Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest, now try the best. Miller & Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Hello, Seth.
Hello, boys.
How are you?
I'm good. I am headed to Queens today. Little U.S. Open action. Why? What's so funny?
And so we've had an ongoing discussion on the show, and Miller and Moulton have been bringing up things that annoy the other or are really special to the other. And And Mark knows how much I love the U.S. Open tennis tournament. And so he's taken some shots at it this year. So then I, of course, had to quote John Bon Jovi because he hates Bon Jovi. Okay. So
Jersey's
I love
on.
the fact that you're
Oh,
going to
I'm going.
Queens for the tennis.
I'm going to be like a remote. I'm going to bounce from stadium to stadium to court to court to court. I'm going to see 16 matches today. I can't wait. I have to get Hall of Justice finished and then leave.
You getting any sit downs with anybody, or are you just going as a
I'm
fan?
working on trying to get Tiafo.
Okay.
But it'll probably have to wait. And then I'm talking to a couple of guys from the broadcast to get them on after. So I'm not like bringing in a microphone, but I'm
Right.
going.
Have you ever talked to Mike Monaco?
I worked with Mike Monaco.
I-
We did the Olympics together. He's great on the broadcast.
I have to admit, he's very good.
Very good. Yeah.
The other thing that's
is top flight.
the other thing that's
yeah.
noticeable, because when the McEnroes are
Mm-hmm.
doing their thing, there's not really a traditional play-by-play guy, so it's a different sounding and style.
Although they've been splitting them up so far.
I know, but Monaco's the traditional play-by-play guy. So, and that's another reason why the broadcast sounds different.
Yep. I'm also working on trying to get Brad Gilbert.
Okay.
His
Brad,
brother lives in not this building, but my town.
He doesn't say no a lot.
I know, right? Yeah. No, I'm working on it. That's part of why I'm going.
Of course, you're just going to stay and walk across the parking lot and go to the Mets Phillies, right?
That's home game. It's going to make it annoying to park.
Well, you'll get there early enough. Okay.
Yeah, right.
You may just have to make sure you're not leaving around 10 p.m.
Right.
That could be a problem.
Right. It's fine.
Seth, what sport today is better than it was 20 years ago?
Tennis.
Okay.
What sport is better?
Yeah. And I would argue, David and I would argue than tennis because there's no serve and volley game. And we liked that style better. But I'm not saying, the athletes in every sport are better. That's
better. Yeah.
I'm not saying bigger, faster, stronger. But like people hate basketball because of the style of play now versus
agreed
20 years ago. Baseball, you are the number one person on that.
Yep. That reminds me, next week on the podcast, I'm supposed to get this author who wrote a book, said it's called Make Me Commissioner.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
We are halfway home in the 239, Tampa, St. Pete, and Jacksonville. Final hour of the show in Lake City, Live Oak, and surrounding areas. Port Charlotte, Venice, and surrounding areas. Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. So we got into one of those, is sports better now than yesterday? And if so, what yesterday conversations about all sports, by the way. But we know you love football far more than everything else combined. So we made it a football poll question. Which era of the NFL appeals to you the most? And so, we give you the 70s and 80s as one era. Then we give you the 2000s because, we got to separate 20 years to have a true era. And then we give you today. I mean, we sound like, what are we, an easy listening station, Mark? 70s, 80s, 90s or today? Something like that. But anyway, that's our poll question. Not Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. It's time for Seth Everett once again. Sports with Friends Hall of Justice. his two great podcasts. Follow him on X at Seth_Everett, Seth_Everett. So name a sport that you are confident, not the athletes, but the sport, the quality of the product that you're confident is better today than it's ever been.
Yeah, I said to you before, it has to be tennis. Tennis would be the only sport that I would think where the quality of the on-court play has improved. Not only are the athletes better, in football, there's so many protections. For the quarterback, it's a different game. I don't know if it's necessarily better. Basketball and baseball are well documented. I don't understand where those two sports are going. Hockey, as much as I think hockey's in a good place as far as the on ice, it's still not the same as it was 20 years ago. Plus, my team won back then.
Come on now, you can't go there.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, I would have to say, to answer your question, I would say tennis.
And we disagreed with you because we like the serve and volley style. There's no doubt with the equipment and the athletes and all those things. So it's a subjective question. But and I said hockey, I'm with you on hockey, but I think the hockey playoffs today
are better
than they've ever been. Because then the physicality comes. The physicality in the regular season is not what it was 20 years ago. There are no fights. There are no Bob Proberts running around. The Bob Probert, Ty Domi fights that made the sport on a February Monday spectacular.
Yep.
But the playoffs now, I don't know if they've ever been better.
Yeah.
But I don't think the regular season has. So,
sure.
But that I just wondered, someone just said it. One of the great comments in the chat room was along the lines of, is this really just a question of when you've turned into an old guy and said, get off my porch?
That's exactly right. And, it's funny because I'm such a tech nerd, and, I love streaming and I love electric cars and I love everything tech, everything that's in the future. I want to feel like I'm driving a rocket ship. And yet all I can't stop watching is how the food that built America, the cars that built America, the men who built America, like these History Channel shows are fantastic and they're intoxicating because as much as I love the future, I relish the past.
Seth Everett, Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice. Follow him on X at Seth_Everett. Have you been able to find out what is really it's either the $1 billion question or the $29.99 question? This deal between ESPN and Major League Baseball, are these out-of-town games going to be in the basic $29.99 the way that the out-of-town hockey games are, or are you going to have to pay extra for it?
I know. I asked somebody at Columbia about that, and they think it's all speculation. So it's an educated guess. I think it's going to cost more, but I also think that eventually you're going to have a base for that ESPN app, and then you're going to have add-ons. And I think the NHL and the new contract is going to be an add-on. I don't think there's going to be the ESPN Plus model is being phased out, and you see it. If you go on that app, you can see it. The only thing I struggle with ESPN is the organization of it is not wonderful. I mean, it's silly, but you know how they advertise how they can broadcast every court at the U.S. Open. So don't put the main broadcast on the second row. Like, just make that obvious. Like, give me the obvious. Give me the easy part. And the app really doesn't look any different than it was. It's good. It's not great. It's a work in progress.
And Seth, now, you've taught, you're our associates, you're the first cord cutter. I'm now there with you. But if you're telling me, and if it's an add-on, it's a whole nother thing. But if for $30,
I know,
I'm getting out of market baseball and out of market hockey,
which is currently 150, right?
Right. And then I can buy my local baseball hockey package with whatever you have Empire, we have the FanDuel or whatever the hell it is in Florida now. I can buy that for another $20. So for $50, I've covered my hockey and baseball for the, I know it's per month, but that seems like a pretty reasonable deal, Seth.
Yeah, how much would you pay for, just to get your teams? And, as I get older, what I have found is I've become a little bit more of a sports snob in that I only really watch my teams. Outside of the NFL and tennis, I only watch my teams. And I'm not into the ACC package or the SEC this and the Big Ten that. I could care less. When I was listening to you guys earlier and you're talking about Portnoy and versus ESPN, I've never watched that, and I will never watch that. That has no value to me. And yet there's a massive audience for it. And I'm not knocking it for existing. What I'm saying is this a la carte nature of the way people are finding their things. Again, I find television to be delightful these days. Like it's to me, it's a pleasure. And, I told you guys last week, Fubo has these deals with some of these regional sports networks. And I'm wondering if they're going to not be able to do that anymore with the new landscape the way it is. Right. But for now, bring back the bundle. I'm Fubo in September 3rd.
Here's my problem, and believe me, I sound plenty old during the show, but this could make me sound the oldest at any moment during today's show. To me, what is going on is it's cable from 10, 15 years ago. They broke it up and they've put it into 19 streaming services, and now basically we're all trying to put it back together again. We used to have it together. It was called cable, and you could change channels and you didn't have to wait for a delay, and you paid one price for it. I mean, Seth, honestly, what our world is becoming is what we had 10, 15 years ago under one roof for a lot less money, by the way, that we're now having to pay for all of that.
That's the thing. Cable got bloated. And what cable turned into was 500 channels and you watch 2 of them. And so what this creates is this more a la carte method for consuming. And for sports, that you're starting to see where these things are being made available. I'm very curious to see where the NBA, let's see, do the NBA ratings improve with this new distribution model? I don't think it will.
No.
I don't think it will.
And they don't care.
Right.
But I think, David, if you think about it, you really answered your question with your comment, because you made the point that I could switch from one to another easily. And that does not benefit the network. If you're leaving every commercial break to flip the channels and see what else is on, you're not watching what pays the bills. When they can lock you in on streaming, you're locked in. You're watching one game. You're seeing what, and I think in the NBA's case in particular, their ratings may go down, but no one's flipping during the break. So their advertisers are getting 100% of the eyeballs during that. And I think that's part of it.
Although I will say that last year with that ESPN app, they have a picture-in-picture. And I remember one time I had the Devils on and the Syracuse football game on, and my kids came into the room and they're like, "Dad, what are you doing? You can't see any of this. You're not following either game." Like there's limits to how fun this is, and it just becomes, you just want to watch your team and you want to see your games.
By the way, we're going to record a special segment with Seth in a couple minutes in which he breaks down Syracuse's season opening football game.
Yeah, they're playing that in Atlanta? What? Why?
All right. Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice, go.
Sports with Friends. It's actually a football preview. Yahoo Sports' Jay Busby, one of my favorite national writers. He previews both the college and pro season. He also has a new book on the history of the Alabama-Auburn rivalry. That is 2 Alabama-centric podcasts in 1 month for me. Jay Busby is Sports with Friends. I just checked. It's out already. And then Hall of Justice is another independent comic creator, a gentleman by the name of Sheldon Allen. He's another one of these guys who leaves Marvel and DC. He made his name writing Spider-Man and then said, I don't want to be at Marvel or DC. I want to own my own stuff so that if my comic book becomes a Netflix show, he makes some serious money. So we talk about the ownership of comic books and things like that with Sheldon Allen. He's a comic book writer. And plus I rip second season of Peacemaker. They did a absolute garbage trope in the opening scene of Peacemaker, and I went off and my social media got a little ugly this past week.
Okay. All right. Good to know.
David, I have a question for you. Do you have
Yeah.
any idea what Peacemaker is? Because I don't.
No.
Yeah.
None
Okay.
whatsoever.
All
No.
right.
But it sounds like, a few people are interested, at least on Seth's X.
Yeah.
Follow him on X at Seth_Everett. By the way, Syracuse, 13.5-point underdog playing Tennessee in Atlanta Saturday at noon. Florida State, the same dog to Alabama. Big opportunity for an ACC school to step up here and make an early statement.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
I think Syracuse has the much better shot because I don't know how good Tennessee is.
Well, I'll tell you this. I don't either.
He's Seth Everett, Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice, and our college football preview just ended.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Ba-dum-bum.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Bud Elliott, since Seth Everett was unable to provide our college football preview, that's why we have Bud Elliott in a little more than 15 minutes time. And then Chris Perkins to talk Dolphins. They made their final cuts. That doesn't mean, by the way, the rosters are locked in. Did you catch this Jags Lions trade this morning?
Yeah, the Lions sent receiver Tim Patrick to the Jags for a 6th-round pick, I believe is what it was.
Right. They kept a couple of, I guess, rookie wide receivers. They wanted to keep them, so they needed to create a roster spot, and they opened one up by trading Tim Patrick. Listen, I like the fact that teams are giving up 6th and 7th round picks like
For
candy.
proven players in the
Right.
league?
Right.
Right.
I mean,
And I know he came off an injury. He had 2 years where he missed most of 2 seasons, came back and played for Detroit last year. I'm with you. What's a 6th or 7th rounder worth as opposed to a guy that you have film on, in the league?
Well, the other thing, Mark, is that I like the fact that the general managers are putting their egos aside. We went through quite a little phase here where teams said they were doing it, for cost, but they were keeping all of their draft picks. Really? Really? Even the 5th, 6th, 7th rounders? Are we sure they're good enough to be on your team? I mean, don't you have to be a pretty bad team for all of the draft picks to stay? I mean, not always. And you know what? Maybe you nailed your draft. Good for you. But I just felt that teams were holding on to 6th and 7th round picks for ego purposes so that the general managers could, look at their owners and say, well, I mean, look at the 2022 draft. I mean, we kept all 7 guys. Yeah, And you and I have advocated for a long time. Come on, man. Trade those 6th and 7th rounders. Even if you get 2 years, they'll probably be 2 years far better than most 6th and 7th rounders you draft. And then for the 6th and 7th rounder to equal the trade you just made, they'd have to give you what? 3-4 years of contribution? That's asking a lot. So I'm glad that teams have been throwing around these 6th and 7th round draft picks, like, quite frankly, the way we would have a long time ago.
I'm getting more and more fired up for the weekend, and almost to the point where I'm going to make you talk about our show during the break to strategize how we handle Bud. There are so many good games to talk about this weekend that I want to make sure we don't overlook anything, because there are some off the radar games that I think you and I probably have more interest in than others. We talked about Auburn, Baylor. Fascinated by that game. Like, to me, that's a big Colorado, Georgia Tech. That's another really interesting game to me.
How about TCU, North Carolina?
Absolutely.
You know, middle of the Big 12, middle of the ACC. And if North Carolina wins, they got 2 layups before UCF. That means they get off to a 3-0 start.
By the way, this is the first of a back-to-back with North Carolina and TCU. They're the Dublin game next year.
Oh.
For what it's worth.
Could have a poll question. Do we think Belichick's the coach of North Carolina in that game?
We could.
I mean,
We could. We could have a poll question to see who you think's going to win the Heisman, too.
We've yet to do the over-under on Taylor and Travis. There are many of you that have been lobbying us all day. We just feel that that's a little crass, I think, is why.
And Miller and Moulton believe in love.
Yeah.
We're romantics. We believe it's going to last. We are not going to slander this relationship by a trivial poll question.
We have believed in them longer than just about anybody else. And so we're going the distance with these 2 lovebirds, okay? A poll question as to how long it's going to last. What is this, an over-under 7.5 on how many wins Florida's going to have this year? Come on now. We're better than that. Not really. It's our story. We're sticking to it.
I mean, we could have an over-under of how long DJ's going to play in the first game. What quarter does he exit? First, second, third, or fourth? And I don't mean with injury. I'm not doing that. David wouldn't play him.
Nope.
For the record, David has said now for at least 3 weeks that DJ Langway wouldn't touch the field against LIU if he were the quarterback. I said I would play him at least a series and maybe the first quarter. And that's it.
I'm willing to amend. And literally, I would say this to DJ. Here's the deal. You're not allowed to run. I don't care. I don't care. Fall down and take the sack. You're not allowed to cross the line of scrimmage. You can play till you put 2 touchdowns on the board or until you cross the line of scrimmage. Because the first time you do, because I'm assuming, Mark, that the Gator offensive line can keep the LIU defensive front away from Lagway, and that he'll have clean pockets, so that this will essentially be a 7-on-7 drill. So that's what I'm counting on. And I would say to him, you cross the line of scrimmage 1 time. It's the last play of the game for you. It's like Jaden Daniels when he did that 20-something yard scramble.
Oh my
that preseason game against Cincinnati.
It takes a hit to score.
And the safety has him lined up inside the 5 and doesn't deliver the big blow, a glancing hit, and he just scores. And Lisa Salters goes, "What were you doing there?" He said, "Well, I was trying to score." "You know, people were scared for you." He goes, "Yeah, but then they applauded when I scored." Yeah. Out. You're done. Next.
By the way, the Taylor Travis love that we have for, stars getting married and life happily ever after. was met with this text. When I got home yesterday, the first thing my wife asked, did I hear the news about Taylor and Travis? And then she says, I give it 3.5 years.
Wow. Wow.
Haters out there. Haters out there. Let me ask you before we get butt on next segment. You brought this up towards the end of our interview with Seth. Syracuse and Florida State are both getting 13.5. The Cuse against Tennessee, that one in Atlanta, and Bama and Florida State. If I gave you my $20, our usual bet of us giving the other money, which team are you taking the points with?
Oh, boy. Florida State. Because they're at home. I could see a backdoor cover. Syracuse lost a lot, I think, off last year's team. Now, I know Tennessee's probably not as good as they were last year, but, I mean, come on. That place is going to be packed with Tennessee fans. I mean, it's 3+ hours from Knoxville. That's going to be a Tennessee home game. This is another one, man. First game of the year, this is tough. Second game of the year, I'd give underdogs a much better chance in some instances, but I think I'd go Florida State, better chance at the cover. Don't get me wrong. I don't think the Noles win. But I am curious. We have so many ranked teams with quarterbacks getting their first starts. I mean, I'm picking Texas over Ohio State. At least the Texas got quarterbacks played meaningful games.
I'm right there with you. I think Arch and company go into Ohio State and win.
I mean, Sayin may be a terrific quarterback. The other guys at least started 4 games, has been there.
I will say in there, he can just throw it up to.
Well, that is true. I mean, he will be open all day.
All day.
Because, I mean, there's only like 4 guys on Sundays who can play with him. Right.
Yeah. Where would he be in that league if you were to rank with all of the great receivers right now? He's certainly a top 10 receiver in the NFL today.
Oh, yeah.
Today.
Yeah. Yeah. When it's time for him, I mean, he's got to do 2 more years in college, and then he's got to do 3 years. He's not going to get paid for 5 more years. He's going to make $50 million. If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller & Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest, now try the best. Miller & Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from that fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller & Moulton.
What do you say, bud?
What's going on, guys?
Getting ready. I'm fired up for this weekend.
Man, no doubt. This is one of the absolute best week ones I think we've ever had.
I think you're right. And I mean, and Farmageddon delivered. So it was it
did. I mean, that was a hell of a ball game to watch, I thought.
And I mean, even the first half when it was ugly, it was ugly. So what?
Absolutely.
What you're doing pitching on the 1 yard line was a little beyond me, but that
was surprising, could have been better. Oh, man.
What I was thinking, and I'm curious your thoughts, because I want to get into the games on air. I was at Penn State Notre Dame last year.
Yeah.
That's one throw away from Penn State winning that game. Good defensive play, bad throw. Everybody rips James Franklin as a coach. I think Marcus Freeman's one of the best coaches in college football. How much does that make? I mean, that game wasn't won by coaching. That was won by a great play. Bad pass, great play, whatever you want to look at.
Right.
I mean, is James Franklin really that bad? Or are we just...
I don't think he's that bad. No. I think he does a really good job. The in-game coaching stuff, he is not... I think the thing is this, they didn't beat a single team that was top 15 in the SP Plus last year in power ratings. So your path to the playoff was SMU, Boise, neither of which have many pros on their team. So I do think people are hey, can they find the way to actually win these games? Which is fair.
I know, Irish. I'm an idiot. Anything I say about Notre Dame is wrong. I get it, bud.
Oh, we got
just someone who thinks I'm stupid. And anytime I talk about any of his teams, I'm reminded of how dumb I am.
It's hey man, I love the people who are in the chat every day. You know what I mean?
It is what it is.
I think Notre Dame's good this year.
I think they're really good. I think they could get a top 4 seed.
Yeah. I could see that. They got to. I don't. Can they get a top 4 seed if they lose this weekend? I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, agreed. I think they have to be undefeated to get a top 4. To be honest.
And the first one's going to be interesting because we've not seen Carr, and at least Beck. I mean, good Beck's good. The other Beck, I don't know.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's.
I will say, as a fan of Coach's Show, there is nothing that bothers me more than Belichick not doing his own Coach's Show. I would have been tuning in to hear that. Just to hear, Hal from Goldsboro calling in to ask Bill a question.
Yeah, I think he's probably just we're not he's probably just we're not doing that kind of stuff,
Oh yeah, I don't want to talk to the reporters. Do you really think I want to hear from Joe Fan about my defense?
Yeah, exactly.
But it would have been delightful.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. Oh man, I'm excited about this weekend. Really, really excited. This is gonna be fun. Sorry, big time show today. Okay. What is? Sorry, I'll try to kill that.
We got time. We got about 30 seconds.
All good. Hey, bud.
What's going on, guys?
I had to get my mother-in-law's breakfast set. My wife's not home.
Gotcha. How's she doing?
Which one?
Mother-in-law.
Not well.
Oh, man.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And And Bud Elliott joins us, and for the first time this year, got the carpooling done in time to race back home and be in front of the camera. Miller and Moulton YouTube channel, twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. Bud Elliott joins us. You can follow Bud at Bud Elliott 3, 2 L's, 2 T's, and the number 3 on X. You know the deal by now. CBS Sports 24/7, no cast, cover 3 podcast. How you doing?
Doing well, guys. I mean, what a crazy good opening weekend for college football.
Especially with only 5 games.
I'm at this weekend, but last weekend was fun too. I felt like we learned quite a bit about these teams.
And it looks like the Big 12 is going to be exactly what we thought. It's going to be a crapshoot. And I want to start there then. There's a lot of big games to talk about, but there's a couple of games Friday night that I'm really excited about. We can get into Thursday and all of them. But Auburn and Baylor. Here's Auburn, a middle-of-the-pack to low-end SEC team against Baylor that people think can win the Big 12, yet Auburn's a 2.5-point favorite. How big is this game for Baylor and the Big 12?
I think it's really, really big because if you lose this and Baylor ends up being like maybe you're one of your reps in the Big 12 title game, there's no guarantee that Auburn doesn't go like 6-6 or 7-5. And if you're the Big 12, you sort of have 2 games that I think you really need to at least split if you want to get 2 bids for the playoff. And that is, of course, Iowa State, and then Auburn against Baylor. There's just not that many other big non-conference games for the Big 12 this year. Now, Cincinnati picks off Nebraska on Friday night. That certainly could be a feather in their cap. You know, if you look at this, obviously, like the Big 12 needs Utah to not screw around and lose to UCLA. But I think those are our 2 marquee wins the Big 12 could get if they want to get 2 teams into the playoff. And Baylor brought a lot back. Sawyer Robertson is a really, really good college quarterback. I don't know if he's like an NFL stud, but I think he's a draftable guy who's really good in college. We know that Oklahoma wanted to get him if he hit the portal, along with their OC. We know that Baylor paid up to keep both those guys. That's going to be a battle for Auburn. And you know, we like Auburn's roster so much, but they built it, quote unquote, the right way, like through high school, good evaluations. A lot of their high school guys they signed have hit. And they realized, hey, like we're going to have to probably go portal to fill a couple of holes that all rosters have. And unfortunately, one of those holes was quarterback. And I don't think the quarterback market in the transfer portal this offseason was any good, especially once you got past maybe the top 2 guys, Mateer, and now that he's healthy, obviously Beck, although that was a bit of a gamble at the time. And so you have to go take Jackson Arnold. And we've heard so many good things out of Auburn camp, but no good things about the quarterback so far. That's not like hearing bad things. It's just you would hope to hear some positive stuff about the quarterback coming out of Auburn. Just haven't seen it so far.
How big of a week 1 is this for the ACC? I think it's monstrous. They've got 2 toss-up games, if you will, 3 4-point spreads, Carolina against TCU, Georgia Tech against Colorado. We know that Miami's a slight dog at home against Notre Dame. Seems as if there's a lot of pressure on Clemson to beat LSU. I just think this is a monster weekend for the ACC.
I mean, David, if this goes poorly for the ACC, they're going to be a back burner conference for the rest of the year. If it goes well, the other conferences are going to be like, hey, there's like this league's not that good, blah, blah, blah. But that complaint's going to fall on deaf ears because the ACC is going to point to the top of the conference and say, okay, you know what? Beat Notre Dame, beat LSU. We'll see you in the playoff with 2. That's just how it's going to roll, I think. Like, I don't think people understand like we say, okay, you can lose a game. These early skins on the wall that you can put up, they do matter when it comes to playoff selection time, especially if the committee is going to value big-time wins and some of the new strength of record metrics that they seem to be valuing.
Well, and you wonder, Mark, I mean, they never said it publicly, but the SEC did not do well out of conference last year. And at the end of the year, they only got 3 bids. Now, the committee never said it out loud, but Mark, you wonder if that factored into, hey, maybe they weren't as good this year as they have been.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like the ACC the SEC lost 8 non-conference games last year, I think it was. But the problem was who did they beat in the non-conference? Bama beat Wisconsin, but Wisconsin was a team that missed a bowl and largely fell apart. Like they had some embarrassing losses. Even Vandy, who obviously we loved, my former coworker Barton Simmons is the GM. They lost to Georgia freaking State. Okay. So like it's hard for you to sit there as the SEC with a straight face and be like, yeah, it's okay that Bama, the team we're arguing should be in the playoff, lost to Vandy. Really, like that team lost to Georgia State. So yeah, like it was a bad non-conference season by SEC standards last year. I think they will probably bounce back in a big way this year, but I don't know that. I think that.
Well, and to me, a lot of this rides the week one noise rides on that LSU Clemson game, obviously. Right. And going back to listening to your summer school, it's like, man, they're replacing a lot of linemen. Their defense was a hot mess at the line of scrimmage. Clemson on paper, and we haven't played a damn game yet, but Clemson is supposed to have one of the best offensive lines and one of the best defensive lines. I'm looking at this game going, I'm laying the 4 all day long, bud.
Yeah. So I'm not as high on Clemson as some people, okay? I think that they caught some teams last year and pounded them, but they caught them at the right time. And I am concerned that when they played anybody with similar talent, they lost. I don't think SMU has similar talent to Clemson. That was Clemson's best win on the year, right? Georgia pounded them. Louisville, from a physical standpoint, pounded them in their own house, by the way. Like that game was not quite as close as the final score indicated. South Carolina didn't pound it, but they beat them. And they lost, obviously, the game to Texas, where Texas scored, 50 or close to it. So I would like to see all of this Clemson NFL draft talent convert that to wins against some other teams that have some NFL draft talent on the roster, which LSU certainly does. My big thing in this game, we're going to get into this more today at 11 a.m. on Big Game Breakdown. How does LSU use Harold Perkins? Like they paid Harold Perkins. They decided they wanted to keep him around. I don't think he's been a fit for what they do defensively. I know he had like a crazy 3-game run back in 2022 or 2023, right? Jimbo was still coaching A&M, so it was a long time ago. I mean, but like he kind of got exposed as a guy that can't cover and who can't really play the run. He was just an incredible pass rusher there for a nice 2 or 3 game stretch there for LSU. If I'm Clemson, I'm figuring out, okay, where are they putting this guy on the field? Let's widen our receivers out a little bit more. Let's make him declare what he's going to do. And if they're putting this guy in coverage, we're throwing at him like every time, because he was a mess in coverage really throughout his entire college career so far. I want to see how LSU hides Harold Perkins, because they were effectively able to hide him, and then you get the positive benefit of his blitzing ability. Then maybe you have something there.
Bud Elliott, CBS Sports, 24/7 Sports, Nolecast, the Cover 3 podcast. Follow him on X, Bud Elliott, the number 3, Bud Elliott 3. Take CJ Carr out of the equation. Is Notre Dame a better team than they were last year? Because, Bud, don't they have to be if they're going to seriously contend for the Natty? Because you can't expect CJ Carr to just walk in and be as solid at that position as the guy they had last year, right?
I don't think they're a better team than they were last year. I don't think they're like demonstrably worse, but I don't think that they're a better team. They could have a better starting offensive line once Jagasaw gets back from his ATV injury. Their depth there is not better. I don't think they're better on the interior defensive line. Okay, like that's something that most of your really, really, really good teams typically have. And I don't know, like maybe they have a stud there. I think they have a lot of very good there. I don't know if they have a dominant guy on that interior D line. Secondary is obviously nasty. Linebacker's nasty. Edge rusher is pretty nasty. Receiver is almost certainly improved. Tight end, we'll see. And their backs are great. Like that's still a really damn good football team, but I don't know that they're automatically a better team unless they get a real passing game. And if CJ Carr is better than what the reports out of spring, out of fall were, then maybe they do. Right? Like that's kind of the one question. If they're just running this back with an okay quarterback in CJ Carr, obviously the run game is not going to be as good this year as it was last year, because last year you had an unbelievably good college rusher. Like Riley Leonard's success rate stuff was off the charts. His ability to pick up stuff on design runs, but also his scrambling was nuts. And he almost never got sacked. That's just not going to be the case for anybody else you put out there. Like he had eyes in the back of his head. That guy was incredible. So I think there is some chance Notre Dame could be better this year than they were last year. I think the schedule is incredibly favorable, especially if they can get off to a hot start, because the back 8 games are largely a cakewalk, and you should be able to do, like, if you take care of business early, Hayes in the barn, you can, man, I can see a lot of games where Love and Price are getting like 10 combined carries and just let's stay fresh for the playoff. Let's load manage, all that kind of stuff. Because Notre Dame's schedule in the back half is kind of a joke. Their front half is very difficult.
And Miami, obviously, with Beck, good Beck is really good. I mean, last year we saw the bad Beck. We've seen him play really well, but Miami defensively last year was supposed to be good. They never lived up to the billing. Are they better on that side of the ball this year?
I think Miami is better than they were last year defensively for sure. Offensively, I'm not so sure. Defensively, I just think like it's hard. It's hard to go wrong when you're spending that much money in the secondary. Like they went out and they got a lot of top guys in the portal. And I thought the portal was a little down this year compared to normal. I thought most teams did a better job of keeping their really good players home, working in advance throughout the year to make sure those deals were done. You did not see a lot of studs hit the portal this offseason, in my opinion, compared to what we had in prior years. But there were still some good ones, and Miami certainly got a lot of nice pieces for that defense, the rebuilt secondary. I do think Corey Heatherman is probably an upgrade there at defensive coordinator. I understood what Mario was doing with the last hire. I thought it was maybe sneaky brilliant if it worked out, but obviously it didn't, so I was wrong about that. Heatherman, I think, did a nice job in Minnesota last year. When we were at the personnel symposium in Nashville, I was asking some GMs, who's like the one guy who you really wish you could have landed in the portal on offense and defense? And offense, the answer was Eric Singleton, the receiver who transferred from Georgia Tech to Auburn, who's now hurt. We'll see if he plays against Baylor. That's actually a really, really important injury to watch. But on defense, the answer was David Blay, the defensive tackle who Miami stole out. Well, not stole. They handled their business. They scouted well. They were on him early. They signed him one of the first days of the portal out of Louisiana Tech. So I think that's a really sneaky get for them. My only real question with Miami this year is receiver. They lost so much receiver talent off that team. I don't know that I love the transfer portal takes they took. Like, I'm not saying those guys suck. They don't. But I don't know that they are anywhere close to what they were last year. And also, if you look at Cam Ward, he really was that good. You look at like the third down, longer down and distance situations, the stuff that typically you are so leveraged out that you're just not converting. And he was just picking them up like they were 2nd and 5. It was unreal. That is typically, guys, if you look at this, not sustainable year to year. And certainly not, like even Jameis at Florida State, right? I'm an FSU guy. He didn't sustain that 2013 to 2014. Like there's a level of magic some years where even if you have the same quarterback, it's not sustainable. I think that's where I think Miami's worse.
All right, we only got a couple minutes. Best chance of an upset. Okay, we've got 3 ACC schools that are significant underdogs. Vatech, 8-point dog against South Carolina. We know Syracuse, Florida State, nearly 14-point dogs against Tennessee and Bama. Any shot?
I think Virginia Tech has the best shot there by far, and it's because it's the only game where I don't think that the ACC school is really outgunned along the lines of scrimmage. I think Cuse is strongly outgunned, and I think Florida State is very outgunned. I picked Bama to win the national title, so I think they're pretty loaded.
Wow. All right. Ohio State and Texas. Arch, it's his team. They're the hype of all of it. Obviously, Ohio State breaking in a new quarterback. How do you see the big noon game?
Well, Trevor Gooseby, the starting left tackle for Texas, Sark said he expects him to be good, but he also said that exact same phrase last year about Banks. And you know who didn't play in the SEC title game? Banks. So they already lost their top backup tackle. Andre Kojo is out for the year for an ACL thing in practice. So if Gooseby can't go, you're running into the shoe with not only 2 new tackles, but your first and third tackles are done. So you're running in there with your 2 and 4. Like that is certainly a major question. If he's good to go, I think Texas is the slightly better team. But man, those pass catchers for Ohio State are so nasty. Max Clare is a guy to watch, the tight end that they took from Purdue. I thought he was the best tight end in the portal. All the personnel guys think like, oh, that's an NFL guy. That's an absolute steal. It's not really fair. Ohio State has, 2 potential first rounders on the outside. Plus they add Max Clare to the mix. If Sayan is what they think he is, and the guy that they ordained to be the starter, then I think Ohio State's really live.
20 seconds. Why Alabama?
I think that they are loaded on the lines of scrimmage. Ryan Williams is good. I think getting Grubb as a play caller back is pretty huge. If the quarterback is the guy, then I think they have the best overall roster.
How many teams are we saying if the quarterback? Because there's so many saying
So
with
many.
Ohio State, Alabama. We can
8.
go right down the list.
Hell, Michigan, like if Bryce is ready to roll year one, then they could go 10-2 and make the playoff. If he's not, they could go 7-5.
He's Bud Elliott. We have him on every week at this time. 24/7 Sports, CBS Sports, Nolecast, Cover 3 podcast. Follow him on X. Bud Elliott, 2 L's, 2 T's, and the number 3. Bud Elliott 3. Bud, all the best to you and the family. We'll do it next week.
Enjoy it, guys. Be well.
Bud Elliott joining us on Miller and Moulton. We don't let up, folks, on a hump day. Chris Perkins to talk Dolphins next. Shoeless Joe Sports Cafe is where your fantasy football draft should be. Free private rooms, Wi-Fi, plus food and drink specials. In August, Shoeless has bingo and trivia Tuesdays and Thursdays with your chance to win free wings and beer for a year. Fridays, live music on the deck. Saturdays, karaoke on the deck. Plus daily meal specials like Wednesdays, $6 wings and half-price pizza. Watch all your baseball and football at Shoeless Joe's, your home for good food, good times, and good sports in the Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor. We fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for
For over
details.
50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
This is Miller and Moulton.
What's up, Chris?
Gentlemen, what's going on?
Another day,
Yes, sir.
Another
Yes,
day
sir.
closer to football. Another day
Exactly.
closer to games that matter.
I was just telling somebody that I'm actually down at Dolphins because we get Chris Greer at 10. And so it was either stay at home and do this and rush down here or get down here early. And I was like, nah, let me get down there early. That's the better plan. So, yeah, but I was just telling somebody September 7th is coming.
Now, obviously, your whole life's with the Dolphins doing your job. Do you have a Saturday team that you nestle up on the couch and watch, or Saturday's not as important to you?
Oh, no, Saturday. I love college football. Love college football. Don't have a team. I went to UT Arlington, which stopped playing football in like 85 or something like that. We had Cliff Odom and Dexter Bussey and
Dexter Bussey, former
yeah.
Lion.
What was our Tim McKyer?
Okay, on the
yeah, but that's about where it ends. So that's why we stopped the program. That's where the names end. So, but I love. I used to cover Texas. I covered TCU. So I watch. I definitely watch Texas and Texas A&M and all those old Southwest Conference schools.
It's interesting. There's a guy who's like pretty high up in the FIU athletic department now who was at UTA before he went to FIU. He spent like 5 years there. So he's in your neck of the woods now.
Is that right? Who is
Jason McBain? I think he's in between like sports information and the AD. I think he's like probably third in line at the athletic department, but he just spent 5 years at UTA.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great guy.
I covered UM for 3 years also, 97 to 99. So that was the Ed Reed, Edrin James.
Terrible years to be covering the
Right,
game.
right.
Yeah, right. There was no Butch Davis was building nothing during that time, right? Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
No talent.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, it took them a while to get me to take Dolphins. They wanted me to take Dolphins in '99, and I was like, no, I think UM is building something special here. And then finally in 2000, they asked me again, and I said I would do it, and they were like, good, because we were going to make you take it. So, but yeah, I missed out on maybe the greatest college team of all time.
The 01 Canes.
Yep.
I think they're top three. I really do.
They are.
Them, 95 Nebraska, and then pick somebody.
There was a USC team that people mention all the time, but great days.
Ed Reed watched that, and just being able to watch him week in, week out in college had to be entertaining as all hell.
Oh man, it was great. And I remember between his freshman and sophomore year, he came back as a sophomore, just like it was like, wow, you are a grown man now. And then but he was always a ball hawk, always around the ball. So, yeah, I think I covered 12 first-round picks, and Andre Johnson redshirted my last year because he tore up his knee in preseason, and Bryant McKinney, another redshirt, had transferred in. So another first-round pick, he had transferred in, so he was redshirting that year.
You had a young Philip Buchanan who was still very skinny, was not quite starting yet on that team.
Exactly. Dan Morgan, Damian Lewis, Dwayne Starks, just a ton of first-round picks, Bubba Franks,
Well,
And people wonder why we wax so poetically about
right
Canes when they were the Canes.
God.
Exactly.
Get a 2000-2001 Canes program and just look at the names. Golly.
Reggie Wayne, Santana Moss. I mean, just loaded, absolutely loaded. Ken Dorsey, who I covered his freshman year,
who barely got drafted.
Right. A better coach.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour in Jacksonville, Tampa, St. Pete, and Southwest Florida. Chris Perkins, who covers the Dolphins for the Sun Sentinel, sun-sentinel.com, is kind enough to join us once again. He'll be joining us at this day and time throughout the football season. You can follow Chris on X at Chris Perk, P-E-R-K. Top of the morning to you. We know it's a work day, so we'll get right to it. Any surprises in the final 53 for the Dolphins for you?
Yeah, there were a few. I was surprised tight end Pharaoh Brown did not make it. I thought he was okay during the season or during the preseason and training camp. Isaiah Johnson, the cornerback. That's a good surprise that he made the 53. Dante Trader Jr., who has been healthy, not healthy. The rookie, he's a 5th round safety. So I was a little surprised that he made it. But I like the 53-man roster. I really do. Now, they don't have a whole lot of depth, and offensively they have almost no depth. But I like the move to youth. You guys know I've picked them to win 9 games this year. So I think that's mediocrity, but that's better than a lot of the national people are picking them. So I kind of like what they've done with this roster. There's you guys know that there's more muscle on this team thanks to the draft, thanks to the last two drafts, not as much speed. So I like what they've done to the roster overall. There weren't any huge surprises, I don't think, but definitely Pharaoh Brown was a bit of a eye opener there, I thought.
All right. Your expectations are higher than mine. I picked him under the number. I think this could go horribly wrong.
Yep.
But if I'm wrong, it's because of the pass rush. To me, the one area when I look at this team, if they can do what you're talking about or better, it's because they've not only got a couple of guys that can get after the quarterback, they've got 4 or 5. They can come in waves. To me, we've talked about McDaniel and the offense and Tyreek and Tua and all these things. The front 4 on this defense, to me, is what's going to make this team go, Chris.
Yeah, no, and I like the front 7, really. So you're talking about Zach Sealer, Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, Chop Robinson, Matthew Judon, and then when you get to the off-ball linebackers, the inside linebackers, Jordan Brooks, who led the team in tackles last year, Terrell Dodson, who led the team in interceptions. Granted, it was just 3, but he led the team. And then behind them, you have Willie Gay Jr. and KJ Britt. The outside and inside linebackers are deep and talented and experienced, and except for Chop, but he's talented. So I really, really like what they've done. And then when you look at the interior defensive linemen, aside from Zach Sealer, you've got the young guys, Kenneth Grant, the 1st-round pick, Jordan Phillips, the 5th-round pick, Zeke Biggers, the 7th-round pick. Matthew Butler was a guy who was at interior defensive line who was a bit of a surprise that he made the roster. He's good. And then really I get more faith in the safeties when I look at them. Minka Fitzpatrick, Ife Melifonwu is getting healthy. Ashton Davis is getting healthy. I feel better about Elijah Campbell the more I see him. Jordan Colbert, he's another surprise. Undrafted last year in 2024 out of Rhode Island. He's a good special teams guy. He's another one who made the 53. That's a bit of a surprise. I'm down on those cornerbacks. I'm glad they signed Rasul Douglas, but I've got to see it to believe it with the corners. I like Storm Duck. They're going to try Jason Marshall Jr., the rookie 5th-round pick from Florida, at the nickel spot. Mike Hilton was another, minor surprise that he got released, but you could kind of see that in training camp and preseason games from the way that they were utilizing him. Never out there with the starters. So yeah, the front 7 and the safeties I like. The corners, we'll see if the front 7 and the safeties can cover for them, because I'm very concerned about the corners, both at starter and at reserve. But yeah, you're right, Mark. That pass rush, they can come at you in waves. They can change games and win games for you.
You wonder how many veteran corners the Dolphins will sign after week 1 when he can sign guys and not have to guarantee their contracts. I'm be curious about that. All right. How much weight are we supposed to put into workouts, scrimmages, and preseason games? Because if my info is correct, Dolphins offensive line against the Jags D-line starters, O-line struggled. Now the Jags actually have 3-4 really good guys up front. So, okay. In the preseason game, though, Chris, oh my goodness, Jacksonville's 2s and 3s kicked the tar out of the Dolphins 1s. I mean, honestly, if I'm a Dolphin fan, I'm like, oh my God, we can't block anybody.
They did, and that stood out to everybody. I think that this was 1s against 2s, and really the Dolphins were only missing Austin Jackson, up front, and
they got whooped.
There was no Josh Hines Allen, and all of those guys weren't there. I think the offense is very hard to judge right now because you were missing Austin Jackson. We didn't see Tyreek out there hardly at all, maybe for 2 weeks in training camp, and he didn't do any joint practices, no preseason games. Alec Ingold was out for part of the time. Aaron Brewer at center was out for part of the time. So it's kind of been a makeshift offense. And then you do have Bobby Slowick, the new senior pass game coordinator. We don't know what his offense looks like with Tyreek out there on the field. Devon Achane also missing. with the calf injury from the offense. So we haven't really seen the offense. I just wrote a few days ago, I think the defense might be able to surpass the offense this year because of the front seven and the safeties. Cornerback is a concern, but the offense, it's just seemed very disjointed to this point. I'm of the belief that teams have figured out this offense, that they need that strong run game. They need that 1-2 punch from Devon Achane and Ollie Gordon, the speed and the power to kind of get teams to drop that eighth man into the box. And now you don't have to go against that too high safety thing that's been giving you so much trouble. But I do want to see the offense. I want to see that they're able to run with those two new guards, right? Jonas Savaiinaya and on the left side and James Daniels on the right side, and that they can use Ollie Gordon and that they can show teams, show defenses that, yes, we have power. We're not just this cutesy finesse speed offense that we can hit you in the mouth and we can make you drop that safety into the box. And now either Jalen Waddle or Tyreek Hill is going to be one-on-one deep, and then we're going to hit you with that. But we have not seen that yet.
Doesn't that take incredible patience on the part of the head coach? Because he likes the flash. He likes the sizzle. And what you're talking about, Chris, is the run to set up the pass. That's not what the Dolphins have been. It's not really been their MO. How does McDaniel adjust this year offensively, to me, is their biggest question.
Yes, that's a huge, huge question because, right, if you don't make that adjustment, then why did you trade up to get Jonah? And why did you make James Daniels your highest paid free agent this year? And why did you draft Ollie Gordon? And why did you sign Alexander Madison, who, is now the running back who is now out with the neck injury and was looking very good? But yeah, there's been a concerted effort by the Dolphins the last couple of years to get tougher and to get bigger. And we saw that in the 2024 draft, right, where line of scrimmage was the focus in the first two picks with Chop Robinson and Patrick Paul. We saw that this year. Line of scrimmage was the focus with Kenneth Grant and Jonas Savaiinaya. So let's utilize that toughness. You don't have to make a complete identity change, but show me something different, because what you've done in the past has not worked. Teams are onto you. You've got to do something different. And you're right. That starts with Mike McDaniel, who, look, I gave Mike McDaniel credit last year for going to that dink and dunk offense in the second part of the season when they couldn't move the ball. I know that was tough for him to swallow your pride and go away from that deep pass game. Now you have to do something else and incorporate the run and some toughness and some physicality. Let's see if he can do it. You're right. It does start with Mike McDaniel.
All right, got about 3 minutes here. What are they doing at kicker? Sanders got a hip, right? He's going to miss some time.
Yeah. They had some kickers in here yesterday trying them out, and we'll see what happens. But I'll tell you this. I mean, they need to have a reliable kicker by week 3 at Buffalo on Thursday night, right? Because you're going to need them. You might not need them so much in Indy in week 1, on the road, at home against New England in week 2. But I guarantee you that week 3 Thursday night game, you've played Buffalo a lot of 3-point games, right? We can run them down 34-31 in the playoffs, 30-27, 32-29. You're going to need that kicker, and hopefully they have somebody who is reliable in place by week 3. And the other thing is, hopefully Jason Sanders is back by week 5. If they put him on IR, he's got to miss at least 4 weeks. But, if you don't have to use a roster spot on a kicker if you know he's going to be back in week 5. You can keep him like they did at that long snapper last year, where you sign a kicker and you put him on practice squad and you elevate him every week. You can do that for 3 weeks, and then you have to either put them on the roster or make a change. So you could have one kicker for the first 3 weeks, get somebody else for week 4, and get Sanders back for week 5. But right now I'm looking at week 3, Thursday night at Buffalo. You better have a reliable kicker for that game.
Well, we'll get into it more next week, Chris, but I'm fascinated that first game. These teams both won 8 games a year ago. If Richardson was playing for the Colts, then I'm like, hey, that's a W for Miami. But I don't think the same way with now Daniel Jones playing. And we've pointed this out for years. Half the teams that win week 1 make the playoffs. 25% of the teams that lose week 1 make the playoffs. That's a big deal for Miami.
you can't go up there and lose to Danny Dimes, can you? I mean, you just can't. And it was bad enough that they lost up there last year, right? With Tim Boyle throwing the ball out of bounds on, what was it, 4th and 2 or whatever it was. You've got to win that game. Now, it is just one game, one of 17, but you're the better team. You need to go up there and show that. You need to convince yourself. You need to convince the rest of the league. You need to convince the Colts. You've got so much riding on that game that this is a transition year, going from win now to win with youth and draftees. Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel are both on the hot seat. By the way, we're talking to Chris Greer at 10 a.m. in less than an hour today. There's a lot on the line here. We haven't seen Tyreek out there in the offense, the whole off season, like I said. So there's a lot on the line. It is just one of 17, but it's bigger than that.
And the Colts have lost 11 straight Week 1 games. If they lose it, it'll be big block letters in the Sun Sentinel headlines. Chris Perkins, Sun Sentinel, sun-sentinel.com. Follow him on X at Chris Perk, P-E-R-K. Chris writes extensively about the Dolphins, and he joins us every week at this time. Chris, go to work. Thanks for your time. Good to see you.
All right, good to see you guys. See you next week.
Chris joins us. That's why we say good to see you. He joins us on our YouTube channel and on twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. Chris Perkins joining us.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from that fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com. If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest, now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Dead struck. I don't know if teams are going to let Tyreek be the key to making the offense go anymore. And when that happens, it'll be very interesting to see how well behaved he stays.
Wow, Shane Bacon doesn't think Ben Griffin makes the team.
Wow. That would be really tough.
He's got him taking Burns, Cantlay, Cam, and himself, along with JT and Morikawa. Just his guess. But
All right, do that again. So he's got JT Morikawa. He goes top 8.
then he
Picks
goes
himself.
himself, and then he goes Cantley, Cam, and Burns. So Ben Griffin, Maverick McNeely, and Harmon out. That would be 8, 10, and 12.
All right. How do you take Ben Griffin over Morikawa?
No. He's not taking. You mean, how do you not take Ben Griffin over
Right,
Morikawa?
over Morikawa. How do you not take Ben Griffin over Morikawa?
By the way, he says if there's a surprise, I think it's Colin.
That's the one that I'm wondering about. He hasn't played worth a damn since the Arnold Palmer in late March.
Jordan Poyer signed with the Bills. And the Maryland AG says the Big Ten is going to have 20 teams in 2030. But I can't read the article because it's on 3, so I don't know who the 2 teams are.
By the way, I heard talk the other day about Kansas.
Well, who was just saying that? Wasn't it
Was
Brando?
it Brando?
Brando.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Final thoughts, a pick or two, all coming up. Our poll question. So we got off on a little diatribe in our second hour. You know, it sounded at times like, a couple guys in Eastwood on the porch shooting the bull. So, we got on the name a sport that's better today than sometime yesterday. And it led us to our poll question. What's your favorite era of the NFL? 70s, 80s, essentially 90s, 2000s, and then, today, the last 15 years. Pick your era. Which era did you think was the best era of NFL football? And vote accordingly.
The 2000s are getting over half of the vote. That is where I went, even though I probably should say today, because I'm always trying to look forward, not backward. but I thought that the violence, the hitting in the game was still good, and the offense had started to be more passing at that time. You know, college football still has all the hitting that it did.
It's hysterical, the difference as to how you can hit the quarterback on Saturday versus Sunday.
No, and I know, and that's why I said that, because really we struggled in those two segments trying to pick sports that are better now than they were 20 years ago. Now, there's a lot of us that don't like NIL or the portal or the way we've realigned conferences. So I know that would get into what people would think. But as far as the on-field product, college football is pretty damn good right now. I mean, they still hit the way they used to. They're still allowed to hit the way they used to. College football's always been more wide open than Sunday.
I do think there's more parity now. Like if you think about, if you want to go back 20 plus years, I think there were more teams with donuts and one loss than there are now. I think more teams get nicked up now than got nicked up 20 plus years ago. You know, I know 2007 was the aberration year. Ohio State had one loss and Hawaii was undefeated, but every other power conference school had 2 losses. But, you know, we had a lot of undefeated teams playing for the Natty a generation ago. Remember in 2004, hell, we had 3 undefeated teams. Auburn got left out. So I do think now I don't know if people like that or not. You know, it's a greatness, if you will, that factor versus maybe more teams in it today and a little more parity today. It's very NFL-like, isn't it, today versus what it used to be?
And it's going to continue to be more that way as we go forward. And that's the question that Miller and Moulton have been asking now really for a couple of years. Are you going to be okay with 9-3 being a really good year for your college team? And you know, me sitting here where my college team is, I'd be ecstatic if mine was a 9-3. But if I were a Georgia, Florida, Alabama, LSU, Ohio State, Michigan, USC, Texas fan, 9-3 is usually a disappointment.
Okay. I may take you in a place, and I'm not doing this intentionally. It's not like earlier in the show where we were each bringing up the other's hot button issues to honk them off. All right. You don't want the playoff getting much bigger at all, correct?
I'm fine with 16. I do not like the idea of 24.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Do you think at 16, if you're 9-3 and you're in the SEC or Big Ten, that you'll get in every year?
Most of the time.
Okay,
Most of the time. There'll be exceptions, but I think more will get in at 9-3 than will not get in at 9-3.
Okay,
you know,
so
if we went the course of the rest of this decade, and once we get to 16, I think more than 50% of the 9-3 SEC and Big Ten teams will get in.
I agree. I think it'll be a lot higher than that. I think it could be 80%. But, you know, Mark, for whatever reason, we seem willing to live with on Sundays if our team wins 10 games and misses the playoffs. You know, Seattle last year at 10 and missed. We can all bring up examples of teams with 10 wins, you know, losing out in a tiebreaker and missing the playoffs. I don't know if the college fan, if we go to 16, is going to handle being left out at 9-3. And I think we're going to get a lot of 9-3.
We could. Obviously, with the SEC going to 9 games, the ACC will follow. It's going to happen here sooner than later.
It will. Yes, it will.
And it'll be which 9-3s, because you and I both believe there has been and will always be bias. If Iowa's 9-3 and Michigan's 9-3,
right,
Iowa's 9-3 might not be good enough
unless they beat them head to head. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know, with the
Right.
unbalanced schedules of what I'm getting at.
Yep, no doubt. Okay, but I just wonder if that's why, if you're sitting in the room, and we all by now, I think, are very well educated. We all know all the factors at work, the networks, the money, the schedule, the whole deal. It's why I'm wondering, Mark, are you going to 24? Yeah, you're probably going to put in 3 or 4 schools that are going to be 8-4, and you're going to be shaking your head going, man, this waters it down, but we know why we did it. But if you go to 24, if you're a 9-3 Power 4 team, you're in. That no one will be left out. And I'm wondering if that's more ammunition. Plus, they've gone 24 at the FCS level, and the sport's doing just fine.
Now, at the FCS level, every conference champion is in. We talked about this last week. Would college football at the highest level ever attempt to do the same thing? Petiti and Sankey would never want it to happen. But in order to get to 24, how many more group of fives are you going to have to include? Can't be just one, David.
No, I agree.
You're not going to get the votes with that.
Okay.
Now, I don't think the MAC champion should ever be allowed to be, unless they're undefeated. Toledo has the perfect year and they get to be the group of 5 team. Okay, great.
What about 2? What if we made the number 2? The 2 highest regarded group of 5 conference champions.
And the other thing about that, David, is that let's just say they're ranked 23rd and 24th. Don't you think they've got a much better shot at beating 9 and 10 than 1 versus 16, if you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that's the oxygen that would need to get the fans to like it.
I mean, you said it, I think it was last week before we interviewed Brando. You said if this thing ever goes to this big, they need an Appalachian State to beat Michigan early in this 2014 format. That's what they need. They need 23 or 24 to knock off 9 or 10. And boy, would it be great if 9 or 10 was royalty. That's 18 years ago, by the way. App State, Michigan.
It was a great day. It was a great day. I mean, I don't know what else you want me to say about this.
If the pride of Evangelical Christian High School, Corey Lynch, who blocked that field goal, is listening right now, he's nodding his head, driving around Southwest Florida going, you know what, Mark, you're damn right. It was a great day.
I'll never forget it. I will not. That is in the shocked moments of my life watching college football. I'm like, in the big house? This doesn't happen.
The first ever football game that the Big Ten Network broadcasts to. First game. Boom.
So we shall see. But I think college football, I'm with Bud. I think it's in a very good spot. And we have a great college football weekend to look forward to. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was the day when and what's on tap. That's all next, Miller and Moulton. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for
Mark
details.
Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, Call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Defining a new era in men's health. Get stronger and healthier at Game Day Men's Health. With our in-house laboratory, get in, get treated, and get back to your passion and purpose. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs or Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for a 10% discount on your service. Start living your best with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples. Call 239-427-3441 today.
This is Miller and Moulton.
So it was week 1, Sonny, and CBS, I think, still had the U.S. Open, but we didn't do games till week 3 in 2007. And so Danielson and I are both home, and I am wearing him out, calling him. Because, Michigan's coming off the season where, their only loss was to Ohio State until before the Rose Bowl. And, it's Michigan. It's App State. App State at the time, still FCS. And I'm just like, they can't lose this. Okay. And then they're lining up for the field goal. Oh, okay, they're going to pull it out. Going to break App State's heart. Couldn't believe it. We were on the phone together when the block kick happened. My daughter was Maddie's age. I had the game on in the bedroom. I was losing my mind.
I'm pulling up that schedule from that year for Michigan because I remember my dad. They had already lost App State. My dad and I went to a Tiger game on Friday, went and saw Michigan State on Saturday, and then drove back to another Tiger game Saturday night.
Oh, wow.
And Michigan lost to Oregon and got whooped. I'm just wanted to see which game I was at. But then after getting beat 39-7 by Oregon, they play Notre Dame the next week and beat them 38-spit.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. We had Seth Everett, Bud Elliott, and Chris Perkins on the show today. In our second hour, we talked a lot of sports in terms of today versus yesterday. What's better in what sport? You miss any part of the show, go to millerandmoulton.com, download what you missed. I'd like to thank Seth, Bud, and Chris for joining us on the American Paint Supplies Hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. Tomorrow on the show, JP Shadrick joins us. We begin our weekly Jags segment. And Roy Cummings, he gets in the weekly flow. We start talking Tampa Bay Bucks, giving up on Kyle Trask and other moves that they made as they get ready for the season opener in Atlanta. So Roy Cummings, JP Shadrick, and Miller and Moulton's college football picks for the year, sure to go wrong, tomorrow on Miller and Moulton.
By the way, seen a report out today, and I've just seen it once. We'll see if it's true. But apparently, I think The Athletic has reported on it as well, that Brady is going to be able to be in the meetings this year. And the production meetings with the coaches and the coordinators and all of that stuff that he was not allowed to be in last year because he's an owner. Talk now is they're going to let the Fox Sports Tom Brady in on the production meetings. We'll see if that sticks. The other one is The Athletic just threw out an article about expansion in baseball and the 6 cities who are actively working towards a team. Now, you and I both think Nashville's a dunk. Like that one's over. Out of these 5, the most likely city in your estimation to get a team is Salt Lake, Portland, Raleigh, Orlando, Austin, Texas.
Salt Lake.
I think you're right. I think Raleigh's got an outside chance. Geographically, with what they're trying to do, when you look at all of the models of the realignment of baseball, Raleigh makes a lot of sense.
Yes, it does. Makes a lot of sense. And quite frankly, Orlando makes the second most sense.
Just something to keep an eye on, because I do think how they realign and where they put teams is as big a part of this as who the team is. Obviously, we think they're all going to have the money. They're all going to be lined up to get a stadium built and those things. That's first and foremost. But with all things being equal or close to it, geography, to me, David, plays a really big role in this.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
We start today in 1918 when Christy Matheson resigns as a Cincinnati Reds manager to accept a commission as captain in the chemical warfare branch of the U.S. Army. 1964, Walt Disney's musical film Mary Poppins premieres. British sailor Frank Jinkster becomes the first to solo sail around the world. He would leave today in 1966 aboard Gypsy Moth 4, and he would not complete his trek until May of 1967. Joe Morgan becomes the first to hit 200 home runs and have 500 stolen bases today in 1978.
Boy, what a great player.
No doubt. Ricky Henderson steals his 119th bag of the season today in 82, breaking Lou Brock's record. For you, David, today at the U.S. Open, Mary Jo Fernandez, at the age of 14 years and 8 days old, becomes the youngest player to win at the Open. Did so in straight sets. Tragic day in rock and roll today in 1990. 35-year-old Stevie Ray Vaughan dies in a helicopter crash near East Troy, Wisconsin, following a concert where he appeared with Robert Cray, Buddy Guy, Eric Clapton, and his older brother, Jimmy Vaughan. My life changed today in 1991. Pearl Jam released 10. I think one of the best debut albums that's ever been put out. Tiger won his U.S. Amateur, or one of his U.S. Amateurs, today in 95. Dino Ciccarelli became a member of the Tampa Bay Lightning today when he was traded by the Red Wings to Tampa in 1996. A little bit more obscure album, but I'm going to listen to it today, and I suggest you do too. The Strokes' debut album, Is This It?, released in 2001. Today in 2004, David, at the Athens Games, Argentina beats the U.S. 89-81. We would take bronze in those games. That's
and we handled it well.
Oh, we really did.
Yeah, we handled it well. Not.
Michael Vick pleaded guilty before a judge to running a dogfighting ring today in 2007. He was sentenced to 23 months in federal prison.
Just to go back, though, that 04, that was LeBron, D-Wade, Carmelo, all as rookies who I think were on the team, but basically Larry Brown didn't play them. You know, they had just finished their first year. They were involved in that great 03 draft. They had just finished their first year, and obviously they all had shown quite a lot, but Larry wouldn't play the young guys.
8 years ago today, we were ripped off on pay-per-view when Floyd Mayweather Jr. defeated Conor McGregor in a fight in Las Vegas. I actually went out to the bar and watched it. It was terrible.
Okay, bigger ripoff, Mayweather McGregor, Mayweather Pacquiao.
Oh, boy. Mayweather Pacquiao, because it would have been so good so many years before when it should have happened.
And I think Manny got hurt midway through the fight. The last 6 rounds, he couldn't use one of his arms, basically, and Floyd just picked him apart.
A year ago today, the Kelsey brothers signed their deal with Amazon's Wondery for $100 million for their New Heights podcast. I will say, I don't know if it was worth the $100 million to Amazon, but just the damn live streams alone when Taylor was on the damn podcast helps pay part of that off, David.
My question is, did Taylor Swift, when her then boyfriend signed that contract, did she quote Dave Portnoy and go, it's ashtray money?
LBJ and Pee Wee Herman would have both celebrated birthdays today.
Boy, put them at the same dinner table. That'd be spectacular.
Boy, there's a few ways I could go with that, but I'm just going to tell you that Sergeant Slaughter, the wrestler, is 77. Buddy Bell, who I had maybe more trading cards of than any other player in Major League Baseball, is 74. Alex Lifeson, the guitarist from Rush, is 72. Bernhard Langer is 68. Adam Oates, who played for nearly every team in the NHL, is 63. Jim Thome is 55 years old today. Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad is 46. Darren McFadden, 38. Brianna Stewart is 31. And Franz Wagner is 24 years old today. What did I miss, David?
Not a damn thing, Mark. Not a damn thing.
Look at that.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Where the hell's my good? Son of a.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah, I know. You know what? I'll steal. When my wife sent me a story that was kind of cute about a goat, we'll go to the wife for this one. I mean, she texts me once in a while. And a rescue dog helped a blind goat to see. A shelter dog named Draco, who's now up for adoption, helped a blind goat who needed treatment for a painful eye infection. So a veterinarian was able to take a small amount of Draco's blood to create a serum for the goat. No word on the goat, but you can adopt the dog. That's good enough for me. For the bad, we'll go to Cape Coral. Why not? Plenty to choose from today. Where a Cape Coral man was arrested after crashing into cars, mailboxes, and a garage. A white Chevy truck was driving erratically, striking multiple objects before driving away on a flat tire that was driven on the rim. Cape Coral police got a notification from OnStar about a crash involving a white truck that matched witnesses' description. They found Paul Benjamin. When they went to his house and knocked on the door, he exited from the neighbor's unit saying, "It's me, I'm effing up." He repeated that he was effing up multiple times and admitted he was the person officers were looking for. Wait for it. Officers noted an odor of alcoholic beverage on his breath. His eyes appeared glassy and bloodshot, and he was unsteady on his feet. Benjamin did provide a breath sample, probably made a mistake doing so because he blew 3 times more the legal limit. Finally, the ugly. We go to Punta Gorda, where a North Fort Myers man was arrested after being accused of punching another man in the face while waiting for a public sub. Buddy Bishop, 19. Well, he's in trouble because the guy he hit was over 65. Apparently, Bishop is very protective of his girlfriend, and when he was waiting in line for his pub sub, he told the victim, who was standing behind his girlfriend, to move. And the victim said, "I'll stand wherever I want to." Bishop told Charlotte County officers he started to walk away before the victim followed him. And when the victim's shoulders raised, Bishop said he hit him in the face. After looking at video surveillance from Publix, he did hit him in the face and knocked him into the aisle. That man was over the age of 65, so Bishop went directly to jail. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, Wednesday, August the 27th, here on Miller and Moulton.
Listen, it's the same baseball games as yesterday. All right. You all know the drill. U.S. Open, ESPN2 coverage begins at 11:30, I believe. You can go to the app and stuff starts as early as 11. Let's make our picks. Ryder Cup. So I don't think he's going to take Morikawa. And here's why. Morikawa's played 11 events over the last 4 months, starting with the Masters. His average finish is 21st. Actually, he's played 13 events. In the events that he's made the cut, his average finish is 21st. He's also missed 2 cuts. He has 1 top 10 at the Rocket Mortgage Classic. Okay, not the best field. In the playoff, Mark, he finished 22nd, 33rd, and 19th. And he had the 2 missed cuts at the Scottish Open and Open Championship before that. Those are his last 5 events.
And I think in each of those playoffs, he had 1 good round and the rest of them were not. I mean, his finishes were because one of the 4 days he played well.
He is the
I'd
worst.
take Ben Griffin before Morikawa.
He is the worst form of those that we think are being seriously considered. You throw Harman in, Maverick McNeely, you name it. He has the worst form of anybody who does not have an automatic spot on the team.
I
I'm
would
gonna
agree
go
with
on
that
a list.
wholeheartedly. That would be an incredible decision. I don't think it's the wrong decision, David, but that would be an unlikely decision by where he finished on points and past precedent
Yes,
with who the captain's picks are.
no doubt. With that in mind, I think he takes JT, who I think he takes Ben Griffin, who finished 7th and 9th. Morikawa finished 8th, by the way. And I think he picks himself. And then I think he takes the guys who are 14, 15, 16. Boom, boom, boom. He takes Sam Burns, Scheffler's best friend, at 16. He takes Cantlay at 15. And who's the
Cam
guy?
Smith.
And Cam Smith.
Cam Young, rather, right?
Cam Young, I'm sorry, who loves that course and had the course record until recently. That's who I think his 6 picks are, and he picks himself. And he leaves Maverick McNeely at 10, Brian Harmon at 12, and he leaves Morikawa at 8 home.
I think Morikawa is going to make the team. I think Ben Griffin makes the team. And I think he picks himself. And then I'll go Cantlay Burns.
Ooh, gonna take Cam Young and leave him home. Miller and Moulton, the picks are at 11 today.
Shoeless Joe Sports Cafe is where your fantasy football draft should be. Free private rooms, Wi-Fi, plus food and drink specials. In August, Shoeless has bingo and trivia Tuesdays and Thursdays with your chance to win free wings and beer for a year. Fridays, live music on the deck. Saturdays, karaoke on the deck. Plus daily meal specials like Wednesdays, $6 wings and half-price pizza. Watch all your baseball and football at Shoeless Joe's, your home for good food, good times, and good sports in the Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah!
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floormeisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floormeisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from that fit everyone's taste. Floormeisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller & Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest, now try the best. Miller & Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton